is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. The second half is here, and baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. This weekend, we celebrate the 2006 World Champion St. Louis Cardinals, and tonight, the first of three as the Miami Marlins make their way to Busch. And welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball. That's the Cardinals Hall of Famer, Jim Edmonds. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us. Second half is here. We know the Cardinals can play better. They need to start, though, playing better baseball at home.
Playing better indeed right now at home. Get a good start to the second half. Start looking at the standings. See how quickly you can make up some ground on the Chicago Cubs.
It starts with Jaime Garcia. He has been very good at this ballpark in his career. Garcia gets the call for the Cardinals tonight. Marlins, Cardinals coming up. As we do that, let's remember 2006 as we celebrate here in St. Louis.
10 years ago, the 2006 St. Louis Cardinals season went from impossible to improbable and eventually inevitable. The Redbirds, whose 83 regular season victories were the fewest by a championship team in history, stunned the baseball world, one unimaginable win at a time. They weren't supposed to beat the San Diego Padres in the first round. They were heavy underdogs to the New York Mets in the National League Championship Series.
Breaking ball struck him out, and the Cardinals have won the pennant.
And they were given no chance to beat the Tigers in the Fall Classic.
In swing and a miss. The Cardinals are world champions for 2006.
They won with David Eckstein, all 5'7" of him. They won with Jeff Suppan, the veteran, who was masterful against the Mets in the NLCS. They won with Adam Wainwright, a rookie who eventually threw two of the most famous pitches in franchise history. When we celebrate the 2006 World Championship Cardinals this weekend, we remember how the impossible became possible and how, once again, baseball makes fools of anyone who thinks they have it figured out.
Garcia as we get set to start the second half of this 2016 campaign. He'll walk it off, mark it, start the warm-up tosses, and away we go. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. Please drink responsibly. By Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Big crowd expected all weekend. Kicks off a 10-game homestand here tonight with the Cardinals Hall of Famer Jim Edmonds. I'm Dan McLaughlin. 83 degrees. The start of our game here this evening. The Cardinals come in 7.5 games back of Chicago. The Cubs posted a victory today. St. Louis 46-42. And the Miami Marlins are here. They are 47-41. Important game in terms of the wild card. And it starts right now. JT Realmuto will lead things off, followed by Martin Prado. Then Christian Yelich for Don Mattingly's club. Giancarlo Stanton, 20 home runs. Marcell Ozuna, an all-star this year. Chris Johnson, then Derek Dietrich, Danny Echeverria. And the pitcher will bat ninth, hitless this year, Wei-Yin Chin. Marlins have been dealing with the suspension of their normal second baseman, Dee Gordon, who will be off that suspension in a couple of weeks. He can start playing in minor league games on Monday, so it's been a rotation of players at the top of their lineup, and it's the catcher, JT Realmuto, who will lead it off here against Jaime Garcia. What do you look for from Jaime here in the second half?
Well, the second half, but starting tonight, just the same old stuff we always talk about. Getting the ball down, command of his fastball. His fastball goes in both directions. It cuts and it sinks, and just really being the guy to look towards to anchor this staff, going, this being the first day supposedly of the second half, but after the All-Star break.
He is batting .360 as a leadoff man, and he is a catcher. He's had 50 at-bats in the leadoff spot. 13th game as a catcher leadoff man for the Miami Marlins, and that's an odd combination to see your backstop lead things off.
It is pretty interesting. We talked about this earlier in the day, just reminiscing a little bit. You came up with a name which was so obvious and still caught me off guard. Jason Kendall. And you don't see the catcher leading off the game too often.
The 1-1 pitch hit the other way, and a leadoff base hit by Realmuto. The Cardinals defensively, let's take a look. Different looking lineup, and that means a little shift defensively here with Tommy Pham in left, Randal Grichuk in center, Steven Piscotty is in right, Peralta, Diaz on the left side, Jerko and Holliday on the right side. Yadier Molina is behind the plate. Matt Holliday playing in his 28th inning ever at first base here tonight. Only 36 total chances, so we'll see with lefties on the mound a little bit more of that here in this second half.
And this is what we thought that would make this team so successful, as you can see that they can bounce some guys around. Jerko at second, because Carpenter's not out there tonight, well, on the DL. Holiday at first, but athletic team, expect to have a lot more wins, especially at home, than they have now. But look for them to try to turn it up a little bit here in the second half, and Mike Matheny knows how to push, and look to start pushing right away.
This is Martin Prado at the plate. He's hitting .324, fourth best in the National League. Daniel Murphy of the Nationals leading .348. There's a double play ball. Diaz, Jerko, double play. Expect to see that in this series. The Marlins have grounded in to the third most double plays in the National League, and a ground ball pitcher on the mound tonight.
All that late movement that Jaime Garcia has will put hitters in uncomfortable situations, even on a fastball that's kind of middle end, good pitch to hit, but that late movement eats you up a little bit and causes you to hit the ball on the ground where the ball sinks just enough under the bat. Nice tailor-made double play right there to get him out of a little bit of a first inning jam, so to speak. But those are the kind of things that he has to do. You cannot dwell on the guy, the leadoff hitter, getting on base. You got to go out there and make your pitches to the next guy.
And without Dee Gordon in this lineup, the Marlins very much a station-to-station team, just like the Cardinals. Here's Christian Yelich at the plate. Late movement on that pitch that Jimmy just spoke of. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yelich with 23 doubles, 7th most in the National League, hitting .317 overall. And the 1-1. Good pitch in on his hands.
The thing about a guy like Garcia and his fastball is, when you're a hitter, you can see the fastball come out of the hand. The biggest problem with a guy like Garcia is you don't know which way that fastball is going to break. So you have to make your attempt to go after the ball knowing it's a fastball, and you're hoping that you're going to pick the right location with the right movement, or you'll see that right there and just get eaten up on the inside.
Here's a 1-2 pitch in the dirt. Hyundai pitch arsenal for Jaime Garcia. The movement on the fastball features the changeup, the cutter. Doesn't throw it very often, just 2.4% of the time, that curveball.
When you can definitely see how early that you can lay off that breaking ball, seeing the spin. That's what makes that fastball so much tougher, is when that movement comes into play.
2-2, hit on the ground left side. Tough play here for Diaz. Yelich can really run, and it's an infield hit with 2 outs.
Very smart play by Diaz right there. Maybe a couple of months ago, tries to make that play, throw that ball away, and you got a guy on second with 2 outs. Take your chances, eat it. Let a guy like, even with Stanton coming to the plate, let a guy like Garcia work his way through it.
Here's Stanton, the home run derby champion, with 61 home runs. 61.
That's a week worth of home runs in batting practice.
It's incredible. And he's starting to get hot right before the break, swinging one of the hottest bats in all of baseball as that scoots away from Molina, and Yelich advances to second base.
Obviously, you don't see Yachty do that very much, but one thing that does allow them to do is now be a little bit more careful with Stanton, if pitching to him at all, with the base open.
It's a good point. Even in the first inning, you don't necessarily have to give him anything to hit. Marcell Ozuna, who's swinging the bat very well, is on deck. Look at Molina set up way outside. I was thinking about 61 home runs and getting to that mark in the home run derby and why he was able to do that as opposed to others. Clearly he's strong, but the strategy of how he hits, he's always trying to hit line drives. So when he makes an out, and the umpires tell you when to pitch at the home run derby, so other guys are trying to maybe elevate, they pop the ball up. It takes a long time for some of those fly balls to come down, and Stanton is hitting a line drive, so he's getting 2 or 3 more swings than maybe some of the others.
Well, the advantage that he has is being so strong. He really doesn't have to go out of his game. If you miss one just a little bit, those balls for him are going to carry. A lot of guys are really over swinging. I know I did when I did the home run derby, and he really just go about his day and normal at bat.
Off of Garcia, kept on the infield by Jerko, and that saves a run. Looked like Jaime may have gotten a piece of it, slowed it down, and then Jerko was able to keep it on the infield.
Little surprise right here, give him a little bit of a good pitch to hit right there, but Jed Jerko does a great job of obviously keeping one run from scoring right there for sure. Knowing how important that run can be, you got to lay out, make that play, and just keep the ball in the infield.
Here's Ozuna, and last year he was up and down from the minor leagues, was penciled in as their everyday center fielder, frustrated with the contract situation. First pitch to him is a fly ball ripped out to left, but there's Tommy Pham, and so Garcia gets through that first inning. The Marlins strand 2, Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. Lineup for Mike Matheny's club. It's game number 89 tonight. It's the 81st different lineup for the Cardinals. That includes Randal Grichuk at the top of the lineup, followed by Aledmys Diaz, then Matt Holliday, Stephen Piscotty, Johnny Peralta, Yadier Molina, Jed Jerko, Tommy Pham, and the pitcher Jaime Garcia. Cardinals facing a lefty tonight. Wei-Yin Chen signed a 5-year deal in the offseason. His time had been spent with Baltimore over in the American League. He's 5-3. This is start number 18 for him. And for Grichuk, second time this year that he has batted leadoff, and just the 4th time in his career. 2 for 12 in that leadoff spot. And the Cardinals are going to have to figure out what to do without Matt Carpenter at the top of the lineup. First pitch. Grichuk hits it on a hop to short. Echeverria. Low throw and a nice pick by Chris Johnson for the out. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Yelich in left, Ozuna in center, and Stanton in right. Very good athletic outfield. Prado, Echeverria, Dietrich, and Johnson on the infield. Remuto is behind the plate. Aledmys Diaz has reached base safely in 18 straight. 16 RBIs in his last 18 games. So the last time that you and I were doing a game, he was struggling defensively, and then he was struggling with the outside pitch, and he's improved in both those categories immensely since that time.
Yeah, and it's work in progress every day out there, especially your rookie year. You're always working on something, and normally when you first come up, you're always working on your offense, and if you throw some tough days at defense in there, you're working doubly hard. But you know, that's just the way this game goes. It's never ending, and it's literally 12 months a year too. So not only working in the off season, you got to get out there early in the day during the season and work on some things you don't really get a chance to work on that often. You come out early and work on your defense, and then obviously batting practice. So it just never stops.
2-2 the count. Number 39, Al Raboski.
And the Cat Hayes is sitting right next to him.
Wow, what's wrong with those two?
It's the future retirement plan right there. That's where the Cat and Al are going to be sitting. Pretty good seats, eh, buddy?
Looks like they're right by the Marlins bullpen, ready for a souvenir.
The Cat Hayes.
I mean, you could pick Musial, Edmonds, Diaz. There's a fly ball into deep left center. One hops off the wall. Aledmys trotting into second base with his 23rd double of the year. That's now 19 straight he's reached in.
Just has so much just raw power. Not a big, huge guy, but he just one of those guys that finds a way to hit the ball in the barrel, and the ball just takes off the bat. I mean, it has been a pleasure to watch, because as a hitter, you know you're not always in a comfortable situation. You can see right here, watch the way he swings at this pitch. He's out in front, the ball's out over the plate a little bit, but he hits the barrel right there, and he's completely out in the front foot, and look where the ball ends up. I mean, another inch body position, that could be a home run.
You are in uniform with the Cardinals in spring training as we get a look at Holiday here with one out. And that one caught the umpire, and he's hopping around. But my question to you, did you see anything that would give you the indication that Aledmys Diaz was going to be an all-star and be one of the top young shortstops in the game right now?
Well, at the beginning of spring training, he wasn't really penciled in there. He just was a guy getting in work. And then he did have some really good at-bats at the beginning of the year. So, no, you don't really know what you're getting when you get a guy in spring training, especially the first couple weeks when I spent the majority of my time down there. But, you know, we saw him play a little bit more, and he kept kind of getting out there. But you're never going to imagine this is what's going to happen your first year.
Ouch.
That's more than ouch. That's sometimes you get those right there, and that's borderline broken wrist, broken forearm.
It's Chad Fairchild, the home plate umpire. Clint Fagan, Jim Joyce, the crew chief, Marvin Hudson, part of this weekend crew here in St. Louis.
That replay right there just reminds me of how destructive a baseball can be.
seeing the skin reverberate and that ball hits the arm. He's going to have a welt, there's no doubt.
This is intense right here. Look at that. Hopefully he'll get some feeling back in that arm, and it's always a good sign right away when you see a guy kind of move his fingers and make a fist, but that doesn't mean it's not going to hurt for a long time to come.
There goes Jim Joyce. Looks like he'll shift to behind the plate. They will tend to Chad Fairchild. Here's real speed. Oh. Nice round of applause for the home plate umpire. Normally don't get that, a nice applause for an umpire, but in this case you do.
And you can see the welt right there. I mean, right here he's going to go in there for precautionary measures, probably get an x-ray, make sure that something's not wrong, even though you can tough it out for a little bit, but you never want to see that.
So what we'll do is step aside. Diaz went into the dugout. Jim Joyce went into the umpire's room. He'll get changed, move behind the plate, and we'll take a brief timeout. We're just underway here in St. Louis in the celebration of the 06 championship team, and the second half is here. Baseball is back. At-Bat app. Stay up to the moment, any moment, Game Day Live, all the highlights, StatCast, news, and more. And you can get that for your phone or tablet. That's MLB At-Bat. Slight delay in our game because of the umpire, Chad Fairchild, taking a foul ball off his right forearm, so he exits, and we turn to Jim Edmonds' Toyota keys to the game.
Well, I think the key to today's game is maybe just the whole second half, a new outlook, try to get off to a good start right now at home, improve those winning ways at home. This has been such a great ballpark for Cardinals teams in the past, and really just try to reel in the Cubs a little bit at a time. You can't really go out there and say, oh man, we need to be within 5 at the end of this month and 3 at this month. You really just try to pick off a game whenever you can, and successful teams in the past that I played on, just when the team wins and you get a chance to win, you got to stay with it. When the team in front of you loses, you really got to push to try to get out another game and get another game closer, and it's going to start here at home right now.
It's an empty baseball field here at Busch Stadium, and the reason why is Chad Fairchild taking a foul ball off his right forearm.
I used to sit out in center field, and when things like this would happen, I would just sit out there by myself and wonder, there's got to be a better way to protect those umpires. I mean, look at his body right there. He is wide open with a chest protector on and a face mask.
Turn to our Kia in the driver's seat, Derek Dietrich, trying to stay loose. Holiday in the driver's seat, presented by Kia. We know he struggled here at home, but against the Marlins, only Larry Walker with a higher average against the Marlins all time. Walker 351, Holiday 345, then the aforementioned Jason Kendall and the Hall of Famer Barry Larkin at 338. As a hitter, you're going to get a different strike zone potentially. You know who's behind the plate before the game. You're around these guys all the time, even though the umpires do rotate. But it does change. It does change for the pitcher. It does change for the hitters.
It does definitely change, and it's going to get a little bit louder now that Jim Joyce is behind the plate. One of my favorite umpires of all time has always been one of the better umpires in the league. This is a really good crew, by the way. But yeah, definitely. It's luckily for both teams, it's early, and there's nothing really on the line yet. Strike zone changes a little bit. It changes a little bit, but you know right away that whatever happens now, you just got to make an adjustment.
Just saw Adam Wainwright up on the video board. He and Yadier Molina, two players still active from that 06 championship team. We'll step aside and hopefully have baseball when we come back. World Championship team, a team that started 31-16 and finished with 83 wins, but they got healthy as they went into San Diego. And here's one of the top moments as we flash back to game one. And this was the division series. That was after a pop-up should have been caught off the bat of Pujols. He made him pay off of Jake Peavy. And then my partner, Jim Edmonds, started awarding game balls after this play from Ronnie Belliard. And you've told me many times that play set the tone for the postseason.
That was definitely the play. I mean, you go back and think about the Pujols home run. Obviously, that was a big play, but I believe that play right there that Belliard made, obviously the turning point of our season. It was the turning point of that game. I think that game was like that play, that ball gets through. I think we might lose that game.
Oh, yeah.
And not remembering the score off the top of my head, but I just remember saying, whoa, that is the play of the day right there.
What gave you the idea with the game ball?
Nothing. I had no idea where it came from. But I thought that for some reason, when I stood up, and I wanted to make sure that everyone understood the moment that happened, what was really going on. Being we had been in so many playoffs over and over and over, and I thought, Tony La Russa used to say all the time, if you think something should be said, say it. And so I stood up, and I don't even know where I was making a joke on the radio the other day, and I was thinking, I don't even remember where I got that ball. I don't know if I grabbed the batting practice ball, the game ball, ball out of my locker. I don't even remember the first ball. The rest of them all came from game balls, but that first one was spur of the moment, and I really just wanted to let the team make the team realize what that play was all about and what it could be, and it took off. And it was crazy because it took off so much that after about 2 or 3 games, the guys would wait for me. They wouldn't do anything until I came out of wherever I was and presented the game ball.
Well, we're just about set to go as Wei and Chen will get a few warm-up tosses here, and behind the plate it will be Jim Joyce. So again, if you just joined us, this is why we had the delay, as home plate umpire Chad Fairchild was hit on the right forearm. You can see he was thinking about staying in this game. It started to swell. We had a live shot of it. He's going to have a big old welt, already does. And so that's why he has left. And so what we have here, 3 umpires, and it does have a different rotation with the umpires with plays as well.
It definitely is going to make it a little bit harder on the umpires. It's not going to make it any easier on Mr. Fairchild, but hopefully they'll just smooth their way into here. But what we don't realize is if you're at home and you're listening to us right now and you're not at the ballpark, you have just missed one of the greatest dance videos of all time.
I agree.
And you were at the forefront of that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you, everyone listening, if you get a chance and you hear that Justin Timberlake Just Dance song, run back to your seat and check out the scoreboard.
No doubt.
Because Danny Mac is putting on a dance party show.
Well, I don't even include it as a show. It's more of a clinic.
It's too bad that they actually put other people in there because you were so good at that. I would pay to see that one right there. That would be a good trailer for the movie theaters.
Thank you. 0-1 the count on Holiday, and that pitch taken low. So here we go. Runner at second base. That's Aledmys Diaz. Talked about Holiday, the struggles here at home. That has to improve. You figure about Randall Grichuk being a better player in the second half. And you also have Colton Wong. A lot is put on his shoulders here in the second half. So we'll see if it all comes together. Holiday hits it down the right field line. Slicing foul.
You know what's interesting too is I think that come the last couple weeks of the first half before the break, can't really say a whole lot. You can kind of keep your team motivated, but I'll tell you what, if I'm the manager, and I'm sure Mike Matheny probably addressed the situation either yesterday or today, I have to say, come on guys, this is it. I mean, this is our chance. We are a good team. We can't wait another week. This is a good break and a good chance to get after it right here and right now.
1-2 pitch. Taken just a bit high.
And that is preceded by, if we want to win, if we want to get back to the playoffs, this is the things that need to be done. And I'm guaranteeing you that either yesterday or today or even the last day of the break, before the break, something like that has been said.
The 2-2. Just missed. One thing they talk about with this lefty starter Chen is that he is a strike thrower. Doesn't waste a lot of pitches with 2 strikes. They've actually encouraged him to waste some more pitches. See if hitters will expand their zone against him.
Lefties are pretty straight fastballs. You got to get them to get hitters to chase off the plate.
Ripped out to deep left field. At the wall, and it's caught. As Holiday just missed it. Diaz back to the bag at second. It's been that kind of year at home for Matt Holiday. Hyundai pitch arsenal for Chen. The fastball, slider, change, and curve.
A lot of fastballs. He's going to challenge you. He's given up a lot of home runs in the past. He's already given up about 17 this year. I mean, there's some hitting to be done tonight and a good opportunity for this offense.
Here's Steven Piscotty, runner at second base, hitting .416 with runners in scoring position. And he looks at his strike, and there's the strike call from Jim Joyce.
There's the call.
So first time you ever dug in with Jim Joyce behind the plate, he frightened you.
It's you know what's great is you can hear it all the way from center field, and so if you forget who's behind the plate for a split second, and I hear it on TV watching the games, even the national games, you can hear him on TV, which is, and I'm telling you, one of the truly good umpires in this league and truly good guys. And He's always been one of my favorites.
And that's what most players say about Jim Joyce. Fair, does a good job. We'll talk to the player, talk to him about the strike zone, listen to the player, and actually listen.
One of the guys that goes out there each night, and doesn't matter what position he's in, his attitude doesn't change. He doesn't get scared behind the plate, doesn't change his approach or his demeanor behind the plate, which I found over the years a few guys around the league would, and I think that's a lot of stress being behind home plate. And you can tell by his body language and what kind of person he is. If you knew him, he doesn't change, and that's all you can ask for as a player for an umpire.
Here's a 2-1 pitch to Stephen Piscotty. You can see Chen trying to go in on Holiday, going in on Piscotty, and just missed with a couple of those pitches.
Talking about the good straight four-seam fastball, little crossfire to a righty, can just kind of try to get underneath the hands, but with a good solid strike zone, you can take that pitch and be ready for the next one.
Here's a 3-1 pitch to Piscotty. Taken low for a ball, and it's a 2-out walk.
Number 27, third baseman,
Another factor for the Cardinals, Johnny Peralta, as we did not see him for much of that first half of the season.
And he's done a pretty good job coming back, not knowing what to expect, but now's an opportunity for him to kind of get his legs back underneath him with a few days off and go out there and try to excel into the second half. And there's a lot to be done in this second half, and there's a lot of opportunity to kind of catch your breath at that break.
Hits it sharply on a hop to Prado and goes across to Dietrich. So the Cardinals strand 2, and we head to the second. Miami and St. Louis, no score. Score, the Marlins and the Cardinals. Lowe's home field advantage. Jaime Garcia, we've talked about it an awful lot in his career. It's one of those things, Jimmy, that he just loves pitching at this ballpark, and he's been one of the best.
He has. He's been one of those guys that has gone out there at home and kind of been a no-brainer when you write his name in there each and every night at home, and he's going to keep the game under control and keep your team in it, but it's always just been about him staying healthy.
Here's Chris Johnson. Marlins dealing with the injury to Justin Bour. Probably would not have been in the lineup tonight against a lefty. Powerful first baseman. But he's dealing with a high ankle sprain. They're not sure when he would be back. One guy we do know that's on their bench, one of the great hitters that's ever played this game, and that's Ichiro Suzuki.
There's a couple guys on their bench that's been one of the greatest hitters in this game, by the way.
Another one is their coach. He's real good.
I just saw him over Chris Johnson's shoulder, and there he is.
You know Barry pretty well, don't you?
I don't know him very well, but he's actually been really, really good to me over my career, and been a pleasure to talk to. Seemed to be a little bit nicer to me than a lot of people thought to other people. But we talked to Eduardo Perez today, and he said what a great person Barry Bonds has been this year and how much he's been working with the younger players. And it's one of those things we saw in spring training. You don't know what you're going to get out of the Miami Marlins every year. You really don't. And you look out there, and like Eddie said, this is a good team that's learning how to play the game. And they're learning how to play the game because of a guy like Barry Bonds and Tim Wallach and the guys that they have on the bench. They have a lot of good coaches. Don Mattingly, Lenny Harris, a lot of good coaches that can teach the game to these young players, and it's going to take them a little bit of time to learn and put it all together.
Lenny Harris, one of the greats in terms of coming off the bench and pinch hitting. Rich Waltzer on the right. There's Eduardo Perez on the left.
That guy right there taught me more about this game of baseball than probably anybody that I've ever been around.
Well, I've always said you were great, and I don't want to say stealing signs, but let's say picking up habits that may give away a pitch. And I said, you're the best I've ever talked to in being able to do that. And you reminded me, you said, I'm okay at it, but the guy that taught me all that, Eduardo Perez.
Taught me everything about it. He sat me down in AAA and he used to get frustrated at me because I didn't know what I was looking at, and then just slowly picked it up. But he's just a guy that knows baseball and loves to teach.
Jed Jerko is there. The wide throw, and Holiday stays on the bag.
I can't say enough about Eduardo Perez. I mean, really, he's a really good friend, but he's just one of those guys that you love to have in your locker. He's the guy, when he was playing and if I was the manager, he would be my first guy on my team that I could pick if I needed a bench player. He is a perfectly educated professional. He understands the game. He's been around it because of his father. He's very outgoing. He's very outspoken, and he's a baseball guy, and you can see after he's been done how much he's been around the baseball world.
And he's bilingual, and that's very important.
And that's huge. And he talked about that a little bit after he left here, and how he's been able to get some younger players to open up to ideas, even in the media, which is, we know, is just as important to be perceived in the media, and been able to go in there and speak to these younger players and in Spanish and say, hey, you know, don't forget about this part of the game because it's just as important. And I'm telling you, he's been a huge credit to the world of baseball since he's been around.
This is Derek Dietrich at the plate. He's at second base tonight, and he waves at that pitch and strikes out. First strikeout for Jaime Garcia. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks.
Talking about that curveball that he doesn't use a lot, and then usually when it's most effective is when you don't see it a whole lot, and then you break it out with 2 strikes. But the key to the whole thing is right there is he made the pitch with the curveball, and he threw it down in the zone and away to a lefty where it is unreachable, and it's a perfect 2-strike pitch.
Ground ball, Echeverria, the shortstop, grounds out to Jed Jerko. And a 1-2-3 for Jaime Garcia. strawberry mixed with the tart taste of lemonade. Blended to perfection to cool you down all summer long. Only at McDonald's. Mentioned it earlier, only 2 players remain from that championship team of '06 here in St. Louis. We say only, it's 10 years ago. There aren't many players that last 10 years in the big leagues, period, much less with one team, and that's Yadier Molina, Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, this game has definitely changed. A lot more movement in the game this day and age, but those guys are still here and still going strong.
So who are you looking forward to seeing the most in this reunion this weekend? I'm going to put you on the spot.
I don't really, I thought about that. The group, I think the chemistry of the group. I think it's interesting. I've seen most of the guys over the years.
Yeah.
First time I saw Aaron Miles in a while today on TV, but Jason Marquis I haven't seen in a while. But all the other guys I've seen here and there and around the ballpark, and just Jeff Weaver in Southern California. So it'll be fun to just see the group.
Here is Jed Jerko. It's a famous picture of that celebration of the '06 team where everybody gathered inside the clubhouse, and you guys are all still in uniform mostly, and apparently they're going to try to get all the guys that are in attendance tomorrow in the clubhouse to take that picture again.
Yeah, that was another one of my bright ideas. That was high school soccer photo.
Yes, it was.
That I took, and I'm actually in the exact same spot, and it was just another one of those things that I said, hey, let's get together and take a picture. And I literally tried everything I could to keep that picture for just me and my teammates. And someone found out about it and basically ripped it right out of our hands, and it became the property of the St. Louis Cardinals right away.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, really quick.
Here's Tommy Pham. The Cardinals beginning a 10-game homestand here tonight. They've lost 26 of 45 here at Busch Stadium. The next loss would surpass their entire loss total from last season. So that has to change here at home. And usually that's something the Cardinals can always count on, playing well here at Busch Stadium. 1-2.
What's funny too is every year team doesn't do as well or something's different, you always can find something right away. There's always something that will stick out. Why the team isn't as successful this year versus last year, or this year versus next year, whatever it is, or the years past. And sometimes it's as simple as runners in scoring position with 2 outs, 2 strikes, whatever it is. We saw that one year the Cardinals were so good with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. It was ridiculous. They take off this year with the team that comes off the bench is out of control, hitting home runs and driving in runs. And then this little stat where they're not really winning at home kind of just sneaks in there, and everyone goes, oh, that's it. That's why. And that's where the struggles in the standings show up.
Played okay inside the division. Obviously, they played well on the road, but here at Busch Stadium, and Mike Matheny talked about it the other day. He said, we've tried everything. Guys reporting later. What are we doing differently as opposed to previous years? Popped up into shallow right. Stanton coming on. I'd get out of his way. He makes the catch. That was a fair ball, too. Nice play by Stanton. Nearly collided with Dietrich. No score after 2. Baseball is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. Mizzou night here at the ballpark, and kind enough to join us, the head coach of the Missouri Tigers, the football program, Barry Odom. Coach, first of all, congratulations on the job, and I know you're a Missouri guy through and through. You're looking forward to this.
Yeah, I've got a unique opportunity. I realize that every day. The chance to lead, our student athletes, the chance to represent our great university and the state of Missouri.
You played there, now you're coaching there. What's that like?
Yeah, and I've said it a couple times, there's not a day that's been by or a week that's gone by since December that a former student athlete hasn't stopped by. And we realize how important it is to represent our place the right way. And obviously we've got goals on being very successful, and the chance to lead our kids over the next 40 years of their life, that means a tremendous amount to me.
What did it mean to you and Jaime Garcia dealing to Chen, who is hitless this year, but what did it mean to you, the reaction that you got from the players? And it was announced that you were going to be the head coach. So many former players were pulling for you. The current players were too. But what did it mean to you, that reaction that they gave you, and the hugs and the celebration, really? Yeah,
there are things I think over the course of your life that you won't forget, and that's one of them. And I'm really focused on building trusting relationships with our kids, and that's a byproduct of what we've done, what I've done over the last few months there, and we've got to continue to do that. And it means it's a special moment, and now let's take that momentum and continue to get as good as we can.
For fans who don't know, Barry Odom was a high school football coach here in the state of Missouri, so you understand the landscape of football in this state. So I'll ask you, how good is the state, number one? Number two, recruiting. Does that give you an advantage because you know the landscape?
Well, it's I was a high school coach not that long ago, and without question, the relationships that you build across the state, that's going to help you. If we can keep the kids that we want in the state of Missouri, that if we can get them to stay home and come play for the Tigers, then we're going to have a great chance to be very successul.
What'd you take away from Gary Pinkel?
He was a guy that I was with for a number of years, and his tremendous organization and his consistency and this the way he approached every day is something I'm trying to take with me throughout the course of my lifetime there at Mizzou.
Be remiss if I didn't ask you. You're at your first SEC media day, and you find out about Mack Rhoades, who leaves the school. Was that a tough situation for you?
Well, I've got respect for Mack, and he and I had discussions the night before, so I was aware of it. Yeah. And I feel so strongly about the leadership of the University of Missouri with Hank Foley and Mike Middleton at this time, and the things that we're doing, the things we've got in place. Mizzou's been around a long time, and since 1839, and we're going to be around a long time and have a lot of success.
Barry Odom, head football coach on Mizzou night, is with us. 2 quick outs, and there is a strike to Martin Prado. What's your message to the fan base right now? Because there has been some issues at the school. It's been well documented. So what's your message to the fans right now?
My message is I need your help. I need your support. The University of Missouri needs you at this time. The state of Missouri is a group of resilient people, and that's what our football program is going to be. Come watch us play. Come support us. Get behind our kids. You'll be very excited about the things that we're doing on and off the field moving forward.
Barry Odom, the head coach of the University of Missouri. That's hit out of play. And I was telling you before we came on the air that Mike Kelly, the voice of the Tigers, said that you like to jump around. You're pretty calm up here.
I'm taking coaching. You gave me the message. He told me to sit still, not move around. So that's I'm able to use that and put it into play.
Are you a baseball fan?
Love it, absolutely. I've been here to the ballpark a number of times, and such a tremendous setting, and when in the state of Missouri, there's a lot of people to follow, and you're in this environment, and the city of St. Louis has been tremendous to me over the course of my life, and it's always nice to come, and when the Cardinals are playing, it's exciting to be here.
What did you take away from spring going into the fall? What do you have?
I'm excited about the transition of our coaches. We've got a group of new guys that are leading our program, and offensively and defensively, collectively, you can look, and we got better every day. We made progress, and from practice 1 to 15, we made a tremendous amount of ground in a positive way, and we've got to pick that up here our guys have done a great job this summer with their workouts, and we've got to do a great job getting into fall camp. And we're really about 50 short days away from game number 1.
I said this before you came on the air. You really want to be at Mizzou, and that's very important for people to understand, because you played there. You did some of the tasks that are well below a head coach. Now you're the man. You want to be at that university. You want to change that program and get it to another level.
No question. The University of Missouri changed my life as a student athlete, and there are driving into work, I don't forget that, and I've got a chance to lead our program now. I expect the University of Missouri to win championships, and if somebody gives me 5 reasons why we can, I'm going to give you 6 why we will.
Christian Yelich is at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs and a runner at first. Little chopper slowly hit up the first base line, and that is a fair ball. Coach, I know a lot of your former players, they love you, and we're looking forward to this season.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You bet. That's Barry Odom, head football coach at the University of Missouri. It's almost time to kick it off. Kids 15 and under entering with a ticket receive their own limited edition Cardinals Bear compliments of the Build-A-Bear Workshop. Don't forget to visit a Build-A-Bear Workshop's new store, now located in the Ford Plaza. For more information, just head to cardinals.com/promotions. Good luck to Barry Odom, one of the real good guys in coaching. And here is Jaime Garcia. You yourself was a football player. As you get a look at Matt Carpenter, and Carpenter, a tough situation when you deal with those oblique injuries, as you know about Jimmy, and we've heard so many different athletes in various sports, they deal with it. Can't do anything.
You really can't. You have to be careful, because obviously you can't throw, you can't hit, and sometimes you can't run. You don't want any kind of torque on that upper body at all. And I'm sure Pete Prenzi down there in the weight room has got something lined up for him each and every day to keep his muscles activated, but definitely a tough situation, because you just want to get back out there and get moving again.
Breaking ball, that's chopped to short, taken by Danny Echeverria. And that's the first out here in the home half of the 3rd. Take the Cardinals wherever you go. You can now stream games this weekend live on your phone. Just download the free Fox Sports Go app. Stream the Cardinals wherever you go. I'm envisioning Jim Edmonds as a quarterback.
Oh, in football? Kidding.
Ice hockey. Of course, football.
I did play quarterback, and then as I got into it a little bit more, I played a little bit of free safety, and I kicked and I punted.
Did everything.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. A lot of parents ask me nowadays, you know, hey, the high school football coach or the high school baseball coach wants my son to play year round, and he's not going to be able to catch up if he doesn't. And I always just go off my experiences and I say, listen, the football made me pretty much who I am today. It gave me the ability to go out there and get beat up, get tougher, and have some discipline, and it's a great different experience. Plus you get more athletic ability. I played soccer, got my footwork in, and then baseball is just one of those sports that happened to be the one I excelled at, but because of all those other sports. So if you want your kid to be good at something, he has to become a good athlete. Most of the time you don't see a guy go out there and just can do one thing and one thing only. You know, even these guys, these pitchers at this level, are they kid all the time about pitchers not being good athletes, but the majority of them play another sport. They do something. They can hit, they can run, they can throw. So make your child a good athlete, and one of those sports will stick out if that's what they're destined to do.
There he goes again. Randal Grichuk off the base of the wall. Grichuk with his 12th double of the year. He's now hit safely in all 7 games since coming back up from Memphis. He's 10 for 23, a couple of home runs, a couple of doubles. You're starting to see him drive the baseball.
Well, and I like he's got his bat in a different position, and we talked about it early in the season. Sometimes when you got that bat flat, I saw it a lot with Albert Pujols, and it just means you're trying to be too quick, or you're trying to be quick because you're worried about the inside pitch. Well, if you're worried about the inside pitch, you don't hit that pitch right there, which is pretty much a hanging slider that he hammered. So you can't give up a part of your game, because sometimes it'll take away a lot more than just what you're trying to work on. Like, you try to take away the fastball in, sometimes it speeds you up so much that now you can't hit anything off speed. And what we saw earlier in the season with Randal Grichuk was he was having trouble with the slider. He's having trouble hitting it. He was having trouble not swinging at it, which is laying off of it and recognizing it. So it opened up a whole lot more problems.
Aledmys Diaz hitting .338 with runners in scoring position. Came in 9th in the league in hitting at .315. As he doubled to left center. First time up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Always find it one of the fascinating aspects for a young player, especially in their first season in the big leagues, handling the final month. They don't do it in the minor leagues. And September is an add-on, and then you hope October is too.
Especially when you're accelerating to the end, which is usually what the Cardinals are doing, and it's the grinding out of the last month. It's not just playing the month out. It is really staying on top of your game and getting after baseball each and every night when you're flat out exhausted. And I joke about early on, I mean, you played so many games already in spring training, April, May, and June, that July and August are tough, let alone September.
Hit down the right field line, out of play.
I think, though, that the majority of the teams now are doing a much better job of kind of monitoring that whole team as a group of rest, food intake, traveling, being on the field too long, being on the field when it's too hot. They already see that they've pulled way back on hitting, especially in the morning games, the afternoon games. So they're making adjustments every day out here to try to get teams through the season a little bit easier.
Second strikeout for the lefty. Reminder that July 22nd, you can add another bobblehead to your collection. 30,000 fans ages 16 and older take home the Matt Holliday bobblehead, courtesy of AAA. For tickets and more information, visit cardinals.com/promotions. One of the members of that 06 championship team will be with us in the 4th. We haven't heard from him in a long time, and that's Jeff Weaver. Was so good down the stretch for the Cardinals. So 2 outs, runner at second. That pitch in the dirt.
You know, over the years with the Cardinals teams in the past, I think Jeff Weaver got lost in how good of a job he did in the World Series, especially. And you know what's funny is every time you see the highlights, it's him.
Oh yeah.
And you forget what what a gutty performance in that last game. He went out there and, you know, you end up losing that game, anything can happen. And you know, those pitchers don't get enough credit for really keeping good teams kind of pretty much down for the count.
A lot of errors in that series by Detroit. Cardinals came in after winning the best of 7 against the Mets in one of the thrilling league championship series in Cardinals history, certainly. The remarkable finish, the curveball by Adam Wainwright to Carlos Beltran. The 2-0 pitch. Holiday was trying to make it 2-0.
You see right here with this sneaky lefty with a good solid fastball trying to get inside. Matt sees fastball, tries to get after it, but yeah, just a little bit of riding action inside, a little bit of velocity. Trying to do what he's doing there is tying him up and then being able to try to go off speed, something down and away.
Like that. 2-2. Outfield is deep. They are straight away. Holiday hit one to the wall that was caught by Yelich back in the first inning. For fans that just joined us, there are only 3 umpires on the scene right now. Chad Fairchild was hit by a pitch with Holiday up, had to leave. Was hit on the right forearm. The 2-2 in the dirt.
You go back to that fastball inside that Matt swung at so aggressively, and that's one of those pitches as a hitter that you want back because you know he's trying to challenge you, especially middle in, and that's the ball you can do the most damage with. And pitchers just feed off of that. They know that, oh, they know that you got away with one, or the hitter thinks they got away with one, and here comes the changeup, and you keep expecting that fastball to come back again on the inner half, and good pitchers just give you that one and move on.
Holiday, a swing and a miss, and strikeout number 3 tonight for Wei-In Chin. Jeff Weaver, our guest, when we come back. In 2006, they do not win the World Series without Jeff Weaver. A lot of errors committed by Detroit. Jeff Weaver in that postseason 3-2, but the ERA 2.43 is Detroit, San Diego, the Mets. They only hit .221 against him, and a great pickup down the stretch for the St. Louis Cardinals. Jimmy was just talking about it as Jeff Weaver joins us here in the booth. We don't hear from Jeff Weaver enough. Big part of that 2006 championship team, and welcome back to St. Louis.
Well, thanks for having me. Great to be here, no doubt.
Hard to believe it's been 10 years.
It really is. I mean, 10 years is a long time, but it really seems like yesterday. I mean, it's one of the best seasons from being at the bottom to going to the top, being released and finding a team that everything worked out for. It was incredible.
Jimmy, what did this guy mean to you?
Well, like I said before, I don't think that he gets enough credit for doing what he did. There was so much of a nucleus of that team over the years, and then you get a guy like this, who kind of a little bit of unheard of, even though he had a great career, and then without him we don't win. We just don't win. And he pitched lights out, and he went out there. I remember the last game, and you keep seeing it on the highlights over, and just kept going out there inning after inning after inning, and he was dialed in, and he wasn't saying anything. He was like, don't interrupt me, I'm working.
Is that what it was like for you?
Well, I just remember when I first came over here, sat down with Tony in the office, and he said, "We just want you to go out there and compete." And I knew how to do that. So, you know, it took a little while to get in a groove, but you know, when the action starts happening at the end of the year, and we're right there, and that's what you play for. And once you get there, you have to take it to another level. I mean, each game is as intense as can be. That's what we all play for. And I mean, look how close those games were all through that playoffs.
Did you ever think you could turn it up like that? Now that you look back, do you realize how intense you were in that last game?
I just knew that this was the ultimate. I mean, this is what we play the game for, to be able to pitch the clinching game in the World Series in a city like St. Louis with the great fans and what it means to everybody. I just knew I had to slow things down because your heart's racing, and you know, the journey I've been on in New York and other places had helped, and I didn't want to pass this opportunity up. I wanted everything to go perfectly, and thank God it did.
How about Dave Duncan? What did he do for you? I mean, we hear about all the time. He gets a guy and he's able to figure out maybe just one little thing that clicks for that pitcher. What did he do for you, if anything?
Well, for me, it was his presence. You know, he's a stoic kind of figure. You know, he's always thinking. You'd sit down with the notebook. He'd go over the repertoire, what you have and what's going to work against these hitters, and he would break it down. And having Yachty behind the plate, to also incorporate that, it was just a really calming feeling for anybody that takes the mound.
Did you ever think that Yachty would be this type of player, this long?
Well, we've heard about the Molina brothers for a while. And
when you knew him from Anaheim,
it was just they always said the younger brother was the best one, and when I came here, you could instantly see that.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, you get the older two, and then this guy shows up out of nowhere. And what's funny too is I remember before you got there, Yachty just being the kind of that. He was like that pudgy catcher that was the up-and-coming guy and would just riding the bike, and all of a sudden you see the end result. But like this guy, even from 04 on, was just one of those guys who would just go out there, and that calmness and
he controls it.
Something about those meetings you must have had in the playoffs where just everybody was on the same page. It had to be insane.
I promise you, he was one of the catchers where you rarely, if any time, shake off. I mean, keep the pace going, see the sign, trust it, and believe in it, and you could do that with Yachty behind the plate.
Ozuna racing to third. They'll wave him in. And Miami takes a 1-0 lead on a double by Johnson, his 5th double of the year, drives in his 13th. And it's a 1-0 Miami Marlins lead. And you mentioned you had been through so much, especially in New York, obviously, and the scrutiny that happens with the press and the big stage. Then you come to a city like St. Louis that's starved for baseball. They love their baseball. And I'm assuming that had to maybe energize you, too, through that year.
Oh, I'll never forget first coming here. I was at Outback Steakhouse, and, you know, fans recognized me right away, and you know, were just happy that I was here, giving me the confidence that they were looking forward to seeing what I could do and how I could help the team out. And, you know, coming back here, the red is just incredible.
What was your favorite moment of that postseason run? As we see a line shot into right, catch will be made. But what stands out as you reflect on that?
I look at the New York series with the catch in left field, and then Yachty comes back and hits a home run off of the closer. And I mean, for some reason that sticks out a lot. Obviously the World Series itself, I started in Detroit, so I got to, you know, stick it to him a little bit. So that was also cool. But, you know, there are so many things. It goes so fast, and it's hard to pick up. But, you know, the defensive lapses of Detroit, you know, the great defense we had, David Eckstein, hitting doubles left and right, you know. I mean, you know, it's just, you could go on and on. It's a lot of good memories.
You probably think too about Adam Wainwright, Carlos Beltran, and that final out.
Oh, big curveball, yeah, and even to Brandon Inge to close it out, slider off the plate. I mean, I could recollect everything that goes on. You know, it's for me now. It's like my kids are so young. They think I was Uncle Jared. You know, because they get to watch him and I'm done. But you got to put on some tapes of that World Series. And it's good. It's good for the family. It's good for everything you try so hard to do in your career, and to be in a city like this, it was. I mean, look at this. It's great.
Aaron Heilman on the mound, and Molina hit that home run as Albert Pujols and Yachty had the handshake ready, and there's that patented Uncle Charlie number 50. Who was that, nasty or what? Amazing.
Still doing it.
Still doing it is right.
Who are you looking forward to catching up with this weekend?
Well, we've been up in the suite here, and I mean, they're pouring in. You know, you see the faces, and everybody's so excited to see each other, and memories start coming back and asking what you're doing these days. And it's nice to see everybody kind of doing something in baseball, whether it's on TV or coaching or back at the high school.
Or
like
watching Uncle Jared.
Yeah,
or watching Uncle Jared.
Watching Uncle Jared, yeah. That's about the only time I go to games, though.
Watch your brother pitch.
Yeah, or my kids, and that's how it goes.
It may sound crazy, but when you're labeled a world champion, does it change your life a little bit, especially initially when you win that World Series and you were such a big part of it?
I think there's no doubt. I mean, we're coming back 10 years later and celebrating it. It'd been a while at the time for St. Louis. Obviously, they've continued to have success. But you just never know if it's ever going to happen again. So, you know, it was the ceiling for me. You wish every game after that had the same intensity.
I bet.
It's the best. There's no getting around it.
3-1 as they pitched around the 8th place hitter to get to Chen, who, by the way, is 0 for 36 after his strikeout back in the 3rd. Well, at least you put the ball in play against Detroit, as we saw. Good things happen, right?
That's right. Especially when Verlander's on the mound.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Yeah, when he's on the mound, you're just like, oh, let me get this ball down. Let me do my job.
Yeah.
Just get it down. That's like the playoffs turn into that. Let me just do my job today.
I mean,
you stop worrying about everything else.
In the moment, that's all you can be in, is in the moment. But you said, put the ball in play, and oh, I thought that might be a specialty. Little blooper over the second baseman's head.
Did you guys feel, though, and I'll ask this, you know, Jimmy's talked about it, but did you feel like it was coming together when you guys got to San Diego?
Yeah, I mean, once we got in, it was like new life, you know.
Wipe the slate clean kind of thing?
That's it, you know, and I think the clubhouse was as good as it could be. We all enjoyed each other and got along great. The new people that came in felt comfortable right away. And, yeah, once you get to the playoffs, you know, start a new life and everybody pull on the same rope and go to work.
And you're always going to be a part of history.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming
having me.
You
it was
bet.
a pleasure.
Jeff Weaver, World Series champ of 06. T-Mobile, greater coverage of Major League Baseball. Kyle Hendricks started today against Texas at Wrigley Field. 6-0 win for the Cubs. Steven Strasburg started tonight against Pittsburgh. His last loss have to go back to September of last year. And then Madison Bumgarner will go later this evening on the West Coast. Second lowest in Major League Baseball, that ERA, and he's coming off a tremendous start. Nearly threw a no-hitter. It was a complete game, 1-hit shutout in that last start. By the way, Clayton Kershaw, since we saw him mentioned on that graphic, is coming back. He threw on the side, and the Dodgers are facing Arizona, and that is minus Shelby Miller. If you did not hear, Shelby Miller, the former Cardinal and Brave, has been sent down to AAA. What has been an awful year for him and for the Diamondbacks.
You surprised to see that they sent him down?
I'm not. I mean, if you've seen him pitch, and we've seen him enough, he just has not looked like the Shelby Miller that we saw at the tail end of his Cardinals career and last year with the Braves. And he was posed that question, are you surprised that you've been sent down? And he said, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner.
Well, as a player, I think you have to address it that way, because if you say anything else, you're going to look bad. But
yeah,
you've been around the game for so long, and the transaction part of it, like when you're a player, you just don't even pay attention. You roll in and who's pitching and who's in the lineup and see you later, you know. And to see how they approach sending guys down, when to send guys down, when is it too early, when is it too late, you know, it's always been interesting to me.
Nice to hear from Jeff Weaver. Here's a 1-1 pitch. He's telling us as he left the booth, he has 3 young children, 6, 3, and 1. He said once they're in school, I might get back into baseball in some capacity, but enjoying life right now with his family. The 2-1 pitch. Inside, 3-1. Are you anxious to get down to that booth where all the guys are starting to file in?
I just don't know if I'm going to make it tonight.
I'll let you go down. If you need to go down there for a half inning, go ahead.
I think it'll take a half inning for me to get down.
But you got to bring some guys back here.
There you go.
The high fly ball into center. Ozuna looks up and it's gone. He deked all of us. And this game is tied. Ozuna. Whether he was trying to deke us all, deke Piscotty, so what? This game is tied at 1. 12th home run for Stephen Piscotty. Even he's surprised.
Yeah, I'm really confused there. I mean, that's a great swing by Piscotty, and we all know how big this ballpark can play. As you see here, gets the ball right down the middle and hammers it. But I don't know if they didn't see it. I see that. Yeah, they're not seeing it, because if I'm the pitcher, I'm not appreciating that deke right there
at all.
The deke is great when the ball bounces off the wall, you pick it up and throw a guy out at home or second, whatever, or you catch it. But the deke doesn't work when it lands in the stands.
No.
Let me tell you, a lot happens out there that obviously he didn't see where it was. This is a perfect time for the ball to get lost too. It's just dark enough, but the lights are up there. But sometimes that ball gets up so high you can't see it. It gets really, really dark quick.
Popped up to the right side, and the catch is made by Johnson.
I'm willing to bet you that Stephen Piscotty is running around first base saying, that's all? That's as far as this ball's going to go?
Here's Yadier Molina. And he takes a ball. So solo home run by Piscotty, who hits lefties very well. Some of the best numbers on the Cardinals. 12th home run, RBI number 49. And it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Yadier Molina. The Cardinals will not face Jose Fernandez in this series. And the idea, in conjunction with their front office, their medical team, his agent, and Fernandez himself, is to get to 180 innings by the end of the year. Coming off of Tommy John, They monitor every month. They'll have a conference call, and part of the plan for the Marlins at the beginning of the year was to skip him 3 times in the season. Planned starts that will be skipped to buy more off days, and so we won't see him in this series. There's a base hit for Molina. Went down to get it.
And I think if you watched him pitch and know how good he is, that is a really nice thing for the Cardinals right now. But he's definitely one of those guys that when you have him in the organization, you definitely need to protect him.
Quicken Loans, rocket arms, most strikeouts per 9. Jose Fernandez. There he's got the changeup grip. We know about the breaking ball, fastball that can get into the high 90s. Scherzer on that list, Strasburg, Syndergaard, so 4 of the top 5 from the National League East. Here's Jed Jerko, who struck out first time up. Hits a slow roller to the right side, base hit. Molina hustling to third.
You can see in this replay right here that pitching in so much gets you a little bit off balance, but sometimes you could just squirt one through the infield. And then I like this, watching this from up above. He is running better than I've ever seen him run, and he's doing things like that he never used to do. And give Yadi Molina, we give Yadi Molina so much credit. Give him even more credit for keep working and getting in better shape each year and fine-tuning his body and keeping himself in shape and in the game as much as he can keep himself in there.
You know, it's interesting how teams also, going back to Fernandez for a moment, how they handle players coming back off of injury, and in particular pitchers, as you get a look at Tommy Pham. But last year was Matt Harvey. Steven Strasburg a few years ago cost the Nationals potentially in postseason play. We'll see what happens in 2016 with the Marlins as Pham takes a pitch inside and low. Tommy Pham fly to right. His first time up.
You're talking about some really big names too. We're not just talking about a first baseman here or, you know, a left fielder there. You're talking about the ace of the staff, the guy who basically is going to be the organizational stud for the next decade if possible, and you really have to be careful. I think the Steven Strasburg situation was a really touchy situation because usually those guys get hurt and they're out and they're done. He kind of came back at a time where maybe at the beginning when he made the decision that they weren't going to be in the playoffs, and all of a sudden boom, and you've made that decision. How do you go back on it? How do you know when enough is enough? And I think sometimes maybe we make too much of agent, doctor, coaching staff, maybe not rely enough on the player himself. So I can tell you what, been there, done that, so to speak. If I'm healthy and everything's working for me and my team's in the playoffs, you're going to have to kill me to get me out of the lineup.
Left field line. That ball is gone. It's a home run. Called by the home plate umpire, Jim Joyce. 3-run homer, Tommy Pham. 4th home run this year. The 2nd for the Cardinals here in the 4th inning. Remember, we had to wait because of the umpire rotation. Only 3 umpires, so that is the call of Jim Joyce, the home plate umpire.
Dan, you want to look at something interesting right here? That's a slider slash cutter on the inner half of the plate. All night he's been tying guys up with fastballs, and the one time that he makes a little bit of a mistake, takes a little bit off, the big league hitter smashes a home run. That shows you how tough pitching is in this league.
Now it's Jaime Garcia. And strike 1. So the Cardinals, after falling behind 1-0, now lead it 4-1. No balls, 2 strikes. doubled his output in RBI. Now up to 6. One swing of the bat. That 3-run homer. Here's the 0-2. And a strikeout of Jaime Garcia. Full day of baseball tomorrow on Fox Sports Midwest and FS1. Here on Midwest, the Cardinals continue their series with the Marlins. Coverage starts at 5:30. FS1 has a doubleheader, Red Sox at Yankees, followed by the Royals at Tigers. And it's all on Fox Sports Midwest, FS1, or watch games live on Fox Sports Go. Brings in Grichuk, who's 1 for 2. It's 4 strikeouts for the lefty of the Marlins and a breaking ball taken for his strike. Little hesitation by this crowd to make sure that that ball, first of all, cleared the wall. Then secondly, was it a home run? If you were down by the pole, the left field line, you could see it, but everybody else had to wait and look for Jim Joyce.
You know what the first thought that came through my mind was? Our fans are so good. They're cheering, making everyone believe it's fair. Because it is hard to see from up here.
Jim Joyce then made the call emphatically. And we have a 4-1 St. Louis lead. One-two pitch, fouled back.
You can see Chen right there doing it again, throwing an inside fastball that's right around the plate. And get the hitter to think, man, I think I might have missed that one. Drops a curveball in there. Then you get him a little flustered and then climbs the ladder with another breaking ball. Then comes back with the changeup. So he's really got you trying to guess, even though now he's down 4-1. But for 3 innings, he was cruising. Just mixing up his pitches and challenging hitters when he wanted to and pulling the string when he wanted to let up. There you go again.
Yep.
It's just he's just throwing that ball right underneath the hands where it is hard to make contact.
So the strikeout of Grichuk, but a home run by Pham hit down the left field line. Jim Joyce all over it. 3-run shot, 4-1 lead. And also Mark Mulder, part of the 2006 World Championship team, as Tommy Pham has given the Cardinals a 4-1 lead. Now, when you think back to 2006, and I think Mark Mulder, I think first pitch at this ballpark,
yeah,
and first Cardinal home run.
Yeah, I was just a couple people just mentioned that to me about the home run, and to be honest with you, it's one of my favorite moments of my career.
Really?
Yeah. I hit a little in college, and going to an American League team, I never got to hit, and then when I got here, I was so excited to hit because I loved. When I was little, I wanted to be a big leaguer. I wanted to play first base, and so to be able to hit that home run, especially in that type of a situation with the brand new stadium and stuff, that was really cool. Even though I think Albert hit one, I think I gave up the first, and then Albert hit one, and then I hit one. So it was awesome.
What do you think about when you reflect on your time here in 2006 and also your Cardinals time?
Well, I mean, boy, I would have loved to have been healthy. I tell people, they say, hey, how was it, Oakland or St. Louis? And I always said, if I would have been healthy in St. Louis, it would have been amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It really would have. And that's, listen, there's no regrets of anything. There's nothing I can do about that. But, man, what it would have been like to have played here and have been healthy, and to be able to do the things that I know I could have done had I been healthy, that would have been the best.
Yeah, that's a tough question because you take yourself in one spot where you're one of the best pitchers in the game, and then you get yourself into a position where you're in probably one of the best places in the game.
Yeah.
And you'd love to have them blend together a little bit. It would have been amazing.
Yeah, without a doubt. That would have been the best part about that whole thing.
Whoa. Holiday tangled up with Real Muto, but they do get the out. But your experience here, I've always wanted to ask you, so I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
When you came to St. Louis, were you damaged at that time, or did it happen here in St. Louis?
You know what? Honestly, I don't know. I just know that at the end of the 04 season, my release point changed in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
In no way in Oakland was I in pain, was I in discomfort, because I went through that whole 05 season here, not right, but I wasn't hurting. And so
we had 17 wins, right? In 05, I believe.
It was somewhere around there, but I had nothing. I was slopping it up there. I was throwing sinkers. I mean, he saw it from center field. I was just throwing sinkers and splits. I had nothing else. I stayed away from everyone and just got a lot of ground balls at times. But then there were those games where my command wasn't very good because of my release point, because of the way things were working, that it was bad.
Yeah.
And that was it was deteriorating as it went along. And that was and I knew it too. That was the tougher thing, I think, as a pitcher, as a competitor out on the mound, is I knew things were getting worse, and I couldn't stop it, and I couldn't fix it.
Yeah. But when you look back, let's ask you about the championship run. The motorcycle. Do you still have the motorcycle that was signed by everybody?
It's in my garage.
Awesome.
It's still sitting there. It's covered up. It's never really moved, to be honest with you. It's still sitting there, and someday, to be honest with you, with all the autographs that are on it, it'd be really, really cool to have it sit outside or inside this stadium somewhere.
Yeah.
And have it auctioned, raffled off, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That's ultimately what I want to see it happen. I want to see it go to somebody and raise a lot of money for something.
I'm curious, too, about coming back to St. Louis. Who are you really looking forward to seeing as a part of this 06 reunion?
Well, I just saw just about everybody except for him, and everybody's in that. Most of the guys are in that room, and it's funny how things change. Guys who are single, guys who are maybe just married. Hey, you got kids? Yeah, I got 4. I got 3, and we're all talking about kid stories. Is basically what's happening in that room right now. So.
Couple guys have gained a little weight.
That happens too, but that's all part of it. Some guys got more gray hair. I got them. I mean, we all get them, but it's some things never change, and that's a lot of the personalities. Everybody's still the same.
Out at first as Garcia gets there. Mark Mulder is our guest. We'll step aside and we'll see if Miami wants to take a look at this, but we'll do a quick timeout. Back with Mark Mulder in a moment. A special Bud Bash themed ticket to get a Brad Thompson bobblehead. That's Tuesday, July 19th. We continue to celebrate the 06 championship team and also purchase a VIP Bud Bash ticket for an exclusive pregame event with Brad in the Budweiser Bowtie Bar. Tickets at cardinals.com/budbash. I've said this many times, and Mark Mulder and Jim Edmonds with us. Here's Aledmys Diaz at the plate. First pitch is a fly ball lifted into right center. The last two guys I thought that would wind up in media and be talkers were Brad Thompson and Chris Duncan, and they're two of the best. I don't get it.
It's amazing how things change, man. You sometimes get an opportunity to do something, and you just kind of go with it, you know. And some guys just don't maybe want to let it be known that they're into it, or that they don't mind it either.
And you're doing a little bit of that now.
Yeah,
he was one of the first ones. Like, he jumped right into it and did a great job. And I remember we were text back and forth. I'm like, are you really doing that right now? And like, was that live? Is it not live? I didn't know what was going on, but did a great job in the transition. And it's a breath of fresh air when you get a really good player in the booth when you've been listening to the same people on ESPN for so many years.
Well, I always used to joke that when I was playing, you'd watch a game and you have those people on TV. Oh, that's a great curveball. And yet it was a changeup. You know, and I come on, it's not that hard.
We do that here still.
Well, it happens. And I always said I'm never going to let it happen. And you know what? I was doing a game last year, I think, and I said something like, well, that's a good changeup down and away, and then they show a slow-mo and it's a spinning slider. And
See?
I'm like,
it's not that easy, all right? So you're doing some games for the A's, right?
Yeah, I'm doing about 20 some home games. I went to Houston for one series, doing mostly home games though, and I love it. I really do. I enjoy doing it. I love keeping up with one team and paying attention to it and talking about it, because as much sitting as I did here in St. Louis on that bench not pitching, you learn a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and especially being up in the booth, you see a lot of other stuff too that you didn't see when you played that maybe I wish I would have known.
Hard to believe, though, it's been 10 years here.
I know, it's crazy. Last year, and my last year here in 08, it goes by quick, man. It's kind of scary. You know, once you're done, it moves along.
But you did try to come back. You had the Achilles.
Yeah, well, that was a day and a half.
Yeah, but everybody said, though, you were ready to come back. You were going to make that team.
I don't know what changed. I don't know what it was, but Kyle Loesch needed to throw, and he said, hey, let's go throw, and all of a sudden my shoulder felt great.
Is that right?
And day 2 of camp, I'm backpedaling. I stopped to go forward, and I blow my Achilles.
Ouch.
And honestly, I tried after that. When I got done rehabbing that, started throwing again, it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
You know, and it was my push-off foot, so whether or not that led to any, or that related to any of the just not feeling right, it just wasn't the same. That's all it was. It wasn't bad. My shoulder didn't hurt. It wasn't the same. And so I was never going to waste anybody's time by going to camp, because I knew it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't gonna waste anyone's time.
What do you take away from the 06 team?
How much fun we had.
Yeah.
You know, and I think more than anything, how talented.
Wow. Great play by Johnson, and they get Piscotty.
It's just how talented that team was, and you know, I mean, we finished the season awful, but then we got going. Once that playoff started, it's not always the best team, it's the hottest one that wins.
Great to see you.
Hey, thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
it. Mark Mulder with us, part of the 06 championship team. Celebration all weekend long. It's 4-1. the former players of the '06 championship team. Jaime Garcia pitching into the 6th. And the Cardinals have a 4-1 lead. Here is Stanton at the plate. First pitch is driven into deep right center field. And that ball is a one-hopper off the wall. Giancarlo Stanton trots in with a double. And he's on base for the 3rd time. Scott Spiezio, who's back. You keep up with Scott Spiezio?
I haven't as much. Taking a look at this swing, going back to what we were told earlier, looking at Stanton's swing when he's really hot, he's kind of digging in and he's got that back leg dipping and the shoulders turning into the pitch. I thought it was interesting. I wanted to get to that. We got a lot going on with the '06 thing, but we wanted to talk about that tonight and how he's been hot and cold over his career. And one of the things they were talking about looking for was when he has that turn with his shoulders and he's really getting into the pitch and into his stance versus kind of just standing up there and relying on him being so big and strong. And was going to try and bring that to the forefront, but we'll get back to that later. And we got a lot of baseball left in the next couple of days, so just thought that'd be interesting.
Take a look at it. One of the top hitters in the game, and Giancarlo Stanton. This is Ozuna. They talk about a big change with him as you get a look at Stanton, and now with Ozuna, he's really benefited from Barry Bonds, and Bonds got him closer to the plate, so he's not pulling off nearly as many pitches, and that's been a bright spot for him here this season.
Well, that's the thing, you know, we talked about this in spring. You can obviously see Barry Bonds and know what he's all about, whether you like him or not. One of the best natural hitters, one of the best hitters of all time. Great eye, great contact, great power. He could run. So he pretty much knows everything there is to know about hitting. Maybe too much for some guys, but if you stand around a guy like that, a guy like Mark McGwire was similar, we didn't swing a lot of bad pitches. These guys are so big and strong. Stanton being as big and strong as he is. It's funny to hear a few things that Eduardo Perez said, and one of them was swing at strikes. Don't get all crazy. Don't try to do too much. Swing at strikes. You're strong enough to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And that's what Barry did. And all this extra hitting and all this swinging wild, you never saw him do that.
That pitch up in the zone, he chased it.
Case in point.
Yep.
But it's something that's really, really hard to do. But the more that someone like Barry Bonds buries that into your head, the more you'll listen and the more you'll just kind of, it'll change you. It'll change the way you swing. I know Mark McGwire did so much for me when I played, just mentally trying to think about what they were going to do and what I needed to do at the same time.
And a high fly ball into right. Catch made by Piscotty. Stanton tagging up from second to third. The throw is offline. And there's one away. What's on Tap is presented by Budweiser. We'll have game 2 of this series tomorrow. And here's a look at what's on tap for the rest of the month. Tonight beginning a 10-game homestand. It finishes on the 24th. That's a Sunday night game. So if you have a ticket to the 24th, that's a Sunday night game. And then we head to New York and go through Miami. So we'll see the Miami Marlins beginning tonight. 2 teams play 7 times over the next 17 days. 3 here in St. Louis and 4 in Miami. Here's Chris Johnson, who is 1 for 2 with an RBI double back in inning number 4. Pitch count at 78 for Garcia. They're starting to stretch a little bit in both bullpens. The chin spot would come up. You would have to think Don Mattingly would go to his pen. Cardinals right now, they are just stretching out there. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Off of Garcia, hit to third. Peralta to first for the out. A kick save by Jaime Garcia that probably takes a hit away, but a run does score to make it 4-2.
You got to love that when it works, because so many times you watch that happen and they usually kick the ball away from the infielder. Very fortunate that ball bounces right to Johnny Peralta, but that's a big out right there. That's a situation right there too when things start to escalate. You know, Stanton hits a line drive off the wall. Just a little fly ball moves him over to third, but a base hit scores him, puts another guy on base, gives him an opportunity to run. Maybe not with Yachty, but you're one base hit away from having the tying run at second base or another run scoring on a double. And it's those kind of things that we talked about before, like in the playoffs. You start thinking of all these what ifs are going to happen. And now that you're sitting up here during the course of this game, it's easy from up here, but all the what ifs start to come into play in order to get this team back on track.
Sure.
And that's what the manager goes through every day. What if this guy gets on base, then you have the next hitter comes up. If he gets a base hit, we're in trouble. And it happens so fast. And if you're not ahead of the game, it's when you get caught shorthanded, bullpen's not ready, and the game just gets out of control really quick.
1 ball, 1 strike on Derek Dietrich. Don Mattingly, for those that don't know, grew up not too far away from here, Cardinal country, Evansville, Indiana. We'll see him at Purple Aces basketball games throughout the winter.
He was my favorite hitter growing up.
He was a lot of guys' favorite hitter. What a player. Donnie Baseball. Finished up in '95 with the Yankees. In '96, they won the World Series.
A bunch after that, too.
Little chopper just over the head of Garcia. Barehanded by Churko. What a play. Jed Churko, outstanding. The barehanded play to get Derek Dietrich. And the Marlins will not challenge one of the top defensive plays of the night, Jed Churko, to get Dietrich by a step. 4-2 midway through 6. Two. Cardinals lead the Marlins. We're in the bottom of the 6th. Anthony Reyes, game 1 winner of the 2006 World Series, as Peralta in the first pitch pops it up on the infield, and the catch is made. Well, by the way, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So 2006 game 1 World Series for Anthony Reyes. How many times have you replayed that in your living room?
Only a couple times. I really don't think about it a whole lot. Whenever I do, it's usually someone brings it up. And for me, I've never been really one to talk about anything. And if somebody brings it up, I'll talk about it. But other than that, probably not.
And what are you doing with your life now?
I work for an ambulance company right now, doing 911 calls for Orange County Fire.
And so you're becoming a firefighter. Is that correct?
In the process with LA County Fire.
Now, the guys and gals that you're working with, they know it's Anthony Reyes, World Series hero.
my partner didn't know that until somebody had asked me what I did before I started EMT, and that's how we kind of find out. And then they started asking questions. But usually I try to keep it quiet.
Do you just show them the ring?
I have not. No, I haven't even actually brought this out since 2006.
Let's see that ring. 2006. So you have not worn this since 06?
I have not worn it since 06.
Really?
Yeah.
Memories of 06. What comes to mind for Anthony Reyes?
From 06, it's the one thing that stands out to me is that in that first game, I remember Jimmy coming over and saying, "Hey, they're sitting on your changeup." And I remember Yachty doing it too, and for me it was like a team effort.
Yeah.
That's for me it was just all about the team being hot at the right moment, and it was just an unbelievable experience. And I feel so fortunate that Tony and Dave actually gave me that opportunity to start that game. Otherwise, this would have never happened for me.
Been asking all the guys, is it hard to believe it's been 10 years?
It's hard to believe it's been 10 years. You know, I look in the mirror and I'm like, yeah, it's probably been 10 years.
How's the shoulder? You know, you feel it a little bit after 10 years, right?
It's actually good. You know, I do lessons on the side, and you know, I'm playing catch with everybody, and it seems like everything's been healed up. So I actually feel really good. And I was telling my wife the other day that I feel pretty good. I might be able to get back, but I'm like, no, I like fire too much.
Skip Schumacher, a favorite of Cardinal fans, and you married Skip's sister.
I did, yes. I
Children?
did. We have one boy. He's
awesome.
about 1.5 years, and he's a blast, and he's keeping us young by chasing him around all day long.
Is he a good brother-in-law?
He's a great brother-in-law, yeah.
You have to say that, though, right?
I do, yeah.
Well, he's not listening
I'm
right
on
now,
TV,
but
right?
yeah. He'll find a way to get it.
I remember in 06, one of the great games was your near no-hitter. Do you remember that against the White Sox?
I do remember, yeah.
Is that a game that you replay at all about, you know, and I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim Thome hit a home run late in that game.
He did. Yeah, I remember that game because I got called up for it. And I remember the first 2 games they had given up, I think somewhere like 30 runs in 2 games or something like that. It was pretty insane. And I get that call to start that game. And it was, you know, you kind of sweat and you're like, oh my gosh, this team's on fire. And you get out there and just
hold that thought for just a moment. Anthony Reyes is with us. We'll talk about it again when we come back. Two hours prior to every home game, enjoy games, prizes, free North Star ice cream while supplies last. That's in the Ford Plaza, presented by Prairie Farms. That's the one game I was thinking back to 2006, and it was crazy because there was 3 very long losing streaks, and that was one of the games and one of the series in which the Cardinals were beat up. You get called up. Jim Thome hits the bomb, but you were that close to a no-hitter.
Yeah, it was close. It was kind of nerve-wracking because they had scored so many runs the first 2 games, and I basically just had, you know, just get there, and I kept getting called up and then sent down, even though I thought I did pretty well. And you know, I had nothing to lose. You know, my job for that year was, you know, to make those spot starts, and I tried to do as best I possibly could. So I was very fortunate enough to be able to save our pitching, since they've been taxed so much those first 2 games, and it just that one pitch just cost me.
Danny Echeverria with the base hit to left. And a right-hander is getting loose in the Cardinals' pen. And here's a look at a pinch hitter now for the Marlins. This will be Cole Gillespie. What was your mindset going into Game 1 of the World Series? I mean, as you reflect back on it, you guys just wrapped up a thrilling 7 games with the Mets. You find out you're making the start. You're a young guy. You're going against Justin Verlander. What was going through your mind as a young kid at that time?
At that time, it was in the bullpen for that last game with the Mets, and they took me off the mound. I was warming up in the bullpen. They took me down, and I didn't know what was going on. And then the next day, when our warm up with Detroit, Dave comes over to the locker room, and he sits down next to me, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, okay, what did I do wrong?
Right.
And he says, how you feeling? And I'm like, okay. And he's like, all right, you're going to start tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. So
yeah,
just did my normal routine and played a few few games more on the Xbox, just to not really think about what was going on. But I just kind of stayed with my same routine. And that was the goal for me.
Who are the guys that really helped you get ready for Game 1? Like you say, you don't have a lot of time, but you know, Jimmy helped you out detecting some things, and there's a ground ball that's hit to the right side. Jerko gets a lead man onto first, and not in time. But some of the veterans on that team, who helped you out?
It was nice because it really felt like a team. And I know in the big leagues it sometimes doesn't feel like a really good team, and like in the minor leagues, but for the Cardinal organization, they really emphasize the team aspect of it. So it was really nice having guys like Jimmy and Carpenter, Supon, having those guys just to kind of sit there and make you feel calm and just kind of help you along was really, really special. And I remember Jimmy, seeing the changeup early in the game, which really helped out and kind of changed our plan of attacking the Detroit guys. And I remember Yachty talking about it, so we just said, hey, we're not going to throw changeups for a while and just see how they kind of what they're swinging at, basically, and just kind of used it sparingly and ended up working out pretty well.
How about the parade? What do you remember about the parade?
I just remember the St. Louis fans. It was unbelievable. It's something that I'll never forget, and just so grateful that I can actually be part of.
Garcia still in this game. Pitch count is at right around that 90 mark. It's at 89, as a matter of fact. 4-2. The Cardinals have the lead. No balls and a strike. JT Realmuto is at the plate. And Jimmy, I think you'll recall too, probably seeing it from center field. 4-seamers up in the zone. I just remember how many pitches you were getting guys out with up in the zone, and it was Ordonez and Polanco and Miguel Cabrera. I mean, that lineup was loaded.
Well, that was the one thing that I brought to his attention was, you know, his game plan is this, and they know that game plan. So it's how well he executes it. Well, if you don't execute it perfectly, you have a little trouble. Well, he was, but these guys were good hitters, and I was saying, listen, you know, you make a mistake with a changeup, they're looking for it. Attack with your fastball, attack with your fastball. And I think it took me an inning to talk you into it. And then you could see him just freezing guys with a fastball in, fastball up, swinging through pitches, because to be a hitter and try to find that medium speed, you can't dial it back up for the fastball. And he went out there and pitched a great game.
I can't imagine the nerves that you have, maybe or maybe not, in your current position. I mean, when life is on the line and you're in the middle of trying to help people out. But going back to 06, you've got less than 24 hours to think about that start for the most part. What were your nerves like?
I'm not really one to get nervous. So my thing was, I just treated it like a normal game. The only thing that I did was I walked around the World Series logos that were painted on the grass, because I didn't want to see those, and I always had my head down when I was walking out. So I just didn't want to see anything to remind me where I was at. I just wanted to focus on it being a normal game and the game plan that I had. Because if I was doing that, I just treated it like another game.
Sure. Anthony Reyes, the Game 1 winner of the 2006 World Series, is with us. 1 ball, 2 strikes on JT Realmuto, with 1 out and a runner at first, and the Cardinals with a lead of 4-2 here in the 7th. Hit to the right side and a base hit. Gillespie will stop at second. How much fun is it to catch up with all the guys and relive some of the memories that are taking place in one of those suites right down the right field line for us.
It's a blast. I'm having a really good time. It's been, I think, 8 years since I've been back here, so it's kind of nice seeing, the Cardinal Nation's up, and I haven't seen any of that yet. So that was really nice, and me and my wife get to have a little vacation out here for a few days. So it's really nice catching up with everybody. I haven't seen Jimmy in a while, so it's nice.
You had guys like Jimmy and Pujols on that team very quickly in about 10-15 seconds. Just what did those guys mean?
It means a lot. Having a team like the Cardinals and the veteran presence like these guys were, it means a lot. It helps the team, I think, be more of a team when you have leadership like that. And it was really special. They make you feel like you're a part of the team, which really helps. And I think it just calms you down so you can actually play better.
Great to see you.
Very good seeing you.
Thanks, Anthony.
Nice ring, too. You earned it. Anthony Reyes, 4-2 St. Louis. Many thanks to Anthony Reyes. Big moment in this game as now Trevor Rosenthal takes over with runners at first and second, one out. The former closer of the Cardinals, and they feel they're very close to getting him right. And a big part of that is strike one, which it is for any pitcher, but especially for Rosenthal, who at times was falling behind, then became very hittable.
Well, you know what, with him, it's just been a little bit of something all the time, and he hasn't pitched as much normally. Last year we said he pitched too much. Well, he was dominant last year. He throws so hard that when he misses up and he misses over the zone. But he is the guy they're going to go to. Get him right, get him a little bit more opportunities out there to work himself back into what he is normally like, and he'll be the closer again really quick. But get him some innings, get him some pitches, get him back into just a nice little groove. And I don't believe that he really wears the closer role on his shoulder, the stress. I'm sure he worries about it, but I don't know what it is about that ninth inning role. It just seems to be stressful, even though right now he's got pretty much the game on the line. I mean, this is the closing role right here for him, so it's not the ninth inning, but game's on the line and he's got to go out there and perform.
No doubt. No balls, 2 strikes. Martin Prado at the plate. Swing and a miss, and he struck him out. There's 2 outs. Plaza Tire Fox Tracks and a high fastball here from Trevor Rosenthal.
I think sometimes that we don't realize about being a closer is, and I think we have touched on this at some point during the season, everyone on the other team in that lineup, there is not one guy on that team that wants to make the last out. You're rolling through a game and the game goes on and it happens, you're going to make an out, things are happening, but for some reason in that ninth inning everyone dials it up a little bit. No one wants to make that last out, and whether it's a 1-run lead or a 3-run lead, it makes it that much tougher on the closer that night.
Christian Yelich at the plate. 2 outs, 2 on. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Inside again. Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. Look at this. They've got 5 players that are hitting. These are regulars above 300. Then you include Ichiro on that list. Well above 300. There's 6. So this is a very good offensive club that Miami comes in with. The 2-0. Foul back. I don't know if you agree with me, but I've often thought, and the economics of the game will allow this to happen because closers are trying to get paid for saves, but a lot of times this is your game on the line right here. Right here in the 7th inning with 2 runners on and at the time 1 out. Bring in your closer here. Now, managers won't do that, but it is something to think about.
It's funny that you say that because my father used to say the same thing to me all of the time.
Is that
the
right?
game is on the line in the 7th inning and you know it's on the line. Why is the closer not in the game right now?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I mean, how do I answer that question? I'm not baseball god. I'm just doing my job. I'm sitting out there in center field. Why don't you go ask Tony this?
And good luck with that.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, this is, you know, you get, and a lot of times it is in the situation where you have a guy on base and it's the best hitters up in the 7th inning. He might not hit again, but that's when the game's on the line. You got to throw somebody out there. And lo and behold, right now we have the bases loaded and their best hitter at the plate pretty much.
Last guy you wanted to walk in that spot. You bring up Stanton. Giancarlo has been on base 3 times tonight. Couple of hits and a walk. And now he's hit by the pitch. Run will score. That makes it 4-3. The pressure mounts on Rosenthal.
That got a little bit of everyone right there.
Kubota Power Stats, and it's a look at one of the premier power hitters in all of baseball, and that's Giancarlo Stanton. Fewest at bats per home run all time, and Stanton on a list with some greats. Big Mac, Babe Ruth, Bonds, Tomei, Ralph Kiner was great in New York and Pittsburgh, and Giancarlo Stanton. Now it's Ozuna.
Saw an interesting stat today. He's the 2nd youngest to reach 7 straight seasons with 20 home runs.
Yes.
I mean, we talk about him. He's a really good player. He's got a big contract, but the stat like that kind of shows you it's not just another good player. I mean, he's really doing some damage, and it's kind of just, he's still a little bit below the radar because he's playing in Miami.
1-0 on Ozuna. Hit up the middle, and it's past Diaz and into center field. 2 runs will score. Throwing to third, not in time. Ozuna winds up at second base. Miami regains a lead. It's 5-4. And I'm sure for a lot of fans, they were saying after Giancarlo Stanton was hit, why not go to Siegrist, who did not seem to be available quite at that time and ready to roll. They were going to stick with Rosenthal. Runners at second and third, and still no move made as they continue to allow Siegrist to get loose. Now Molina will go out and talk, and that'll buy them a little bit more time. But Siegrist did not seem to be warmed at that particular moment.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about. The game does go by fast. A couple pitches here. I'm sure he didn't expect 1 pitch to Stanton. And then now you also have that situation too where now Mike's got to go make a double switch, which he did not want to make, and then throw off everything. So interesting to see how this will work out and what kind of move he's going to make.
So Colton Wong will come in the game. Jed Jerko will leave. And Rosenthal, unfortunately, is going to hear it from the home fans. Unfortunate for him. It's our Chevy call to the pen as we step aside. Grab Cardinal seats, get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by the best value. So get the StubHub app today. Kevin Segrist back off the disabled list after dealing with mono. You just hope he's got his legs under him. Colton Wong comes in this game, takes over at second, runners at second and third. Oh boy, what could be a sleepless night for both Mike Matheny and Trevor Rosenthal.
Well, if you're going to make an adjustment and you're going to try to get him innings, I mean, you got to get him out there, and it's just one of those things you got to deal with during the course of the season. And unfortunately, it didn't turn out right at this time, and hopefully the offense can come back and put some more runs on the board. But like I said, it's work in progress, and you got to get the work in.
Command issues, though, again, as he walked Yelich, then hit Stanton, then the base hit. I think of concern right now is that you've got Segrist back in a high leverage situation, but he hasn't pitched since June. So you've got a guy that is dealt with mono, which can really take the energy out of you. Just how sharp will he be in a crucial spot here?
Well, you got to hope that he's going to be sharp because you're throwing him out there, but some of the damage has been done and you just want to minimize it and get your team back inside. I guess you never know until you throw him out there.
2-2 the count with 2 outs, runners at second and third. The next two, Johnson. And the 3-2. He walked him. Dave Emig, who is born and raised in St. Louis, lifelong fan, 69 years old, served in the Marines during Vietnam, is resting comfortably right now. I know he's not feeling all that well and never misses a game, and want to see him back at the ballpark very, very soon. Rojas will be the pinch hitter. Bases loaded here for the Marlins. So bases loaded. Miguel Rojas at the plate. The first half at times infuriating watching the Cardinals, a team that has a huge run differential in their favor, but yet some of the things that plagued them in the first half of this season come back to haunt them the first game back here in the second half. Been one of those years.
Yes, it has. It's been one of those years where you're asking questions all the time, and it hasn't been like that in the past, but you just keep going out there and pushing and pushing. And, the perfect example of what we've been talking about all night is 2006 champions, 83 wins. So you got to play the year out, try to get better every day, and just try to make strides towards getting better. And keep pushing.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Rojas with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Hit down the right field line, out of play. And you know Mike Matheny is trying to get Rosenthal right. However, after the walk, then the hit by pitch, the main question he'll be asked is, why did you stick with Trevor Rosenthal for one more hitter with the issues that he's had? That's some of the questions that they'll have to answer after the game.
Well, those are the questions that need to be asked and need to be answered, and that way we have an idea of what's going on in there and what the game plan is, and I'm sure Mike will have a great answer for it. There will be a definite reason.
Out to shallow center. Don Mattingly has seen his club come back to take the lead. It's now 5-4. Time to stretch on this Friday night. Inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Tommy Pham is homered tonight. Yellowwood bringing the lumber. This hit down the left field line, and Tommy Pham with a 3-run homer just stayed fair. At that point, the Cardinals went on top 4-1. They trail now 5-4. First pitch is in the dirt. New pitcher is David Phelps. Chevy called to the pen. He grew up in this area. Actually pitched for Kyle McClellan's brother in high school. And Pham hits it out to right center. At the track, at the wall. He's tied it. 5-5 and his second home run of the night. This is our Nissan drive of the game. The fans want a curtain call, and they get one. The Nissan drive of the game off the bat of Pham.
It's the one thing I love about Tommy Pham. He plays this game so hard, and when he's right, that's what he does. And he did it last year in Arizona for a couple of days. It's
Milwaukee.
getting him healthy. Yes, in Milwaukee. And just, he's one of those guys, when you get him in the lineup, he's going full throttle all the time. If he can just hone it in, he's going to be a good player.
Streaky.
Streaky for sure, but you see the kind of power. He can run, he can play defense. And that's serious pop right there. You'd love to have in the lineup.
Tommy Pham just helped the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Good cut by Wong. 2-2 the count. Yeah, his hot streaks seem to be
really hot.
Really hot. Home runs, extra base hits.
Kind of like that infrared tornado zone.
Right.
Really hot.
That was the 10th career home run for Tommy Pham, but already his third multi-home run game, and second this year. He's tied it up at 5 and a strikeout of Colton Wong. Brings in Randall Grichuk. He has doubled tonight. That was back in the third. That's well hit. Into left center field. This ball is gone. Cardinals go back on top. This time, Randall Grichuk with home run number 11. Six-5 Cardinals.
You see that replay right there of that swing with Grichuk, and you now know why. You see why they're so excited to get him healthy and right, because that swing is so short and he's so strong and so athletic that can get him going forward and progressing every day. He's going to be a super player. And like I said, it's hard to see it at the slow motion speed, but when you watch that in real time, the shortness of that swing with the amount of power is hard to be matched on this team and in this organization.
3-0 the count on Diaz. They've been giving him the green light on 3-0. Randall Grichuk just helped the Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri.
See it right there. Simple. Not a lot of movement. Barrel on the ball and just so strong.
And a walk now to Diaz.
And you got to love when the offense picks up the pitching staff. You really, that's what these teams are made out of. That's what good teams are made out of.
Right now, Rosenthal is off the hook. You move past that for the moment.
Still going to get the questions that you asked.
Sure.
But at least you can breathe easier with the answer.
So Phelps has come in and allowed a couple of home runs. And he's been a guy that the Marlins have really counted on this year. Tommy Pham, the home run to tie it. Moments later, Randall Grichuk to put the Birds on top. And now it's Holiday. Since 2011, the Cardinals have been one of the better teams in baseball in the second half. And we'll see if that trend continues. The BJC Healthcare difference maker. One out runner at first. Holiday looks at a strike. Whitgren is getting loose. Miami, they've got 2 to 3 starters they can really count on to go a little deeper into games than the other 2 or 3 in their staff. It's hit and miss with their number 3. And so they've really tried to strengthen up their bullpen, shorten up games. They like Whitgren, Barraclaw, the former Cardinal minor leaguer, and this guy on the mound, David Phelps.
You see that's been a lot of teams' issues in the past, and they've been really trying to strengthen their bullpens that shorten the game. Like you said, a lot of organizations are going to that.
Holiday flies out to right. Diaz back to the bag at first. And now there's 2 outs and Stephen Piscotty.
You wonder out there if someone's saying, okay, listen, it's impossible to get 5 really good starters all the time. So we're going to get 2 or 3 or 3 or 4. And then if we can get those last 3 guys to be legit, got a better chance. Obviously, you're going to throw some offense in there. You don't have to have this ridiculous payroll to be a competitive team.
Two outs, runner at first. 6-5 St. Louis. A crowd that has been energetic since the first pitch. Outfield is deep and straight away. Piscotty a home run back in the 4th. Four home runs hit by the Cardinals tonight. Pham with 2, Grichuk with 1, and Piscotty with 1.
One more might be nice.
Oh yeah. I don't know about you. I just did not see this club coming out of spring training and hitting for the power that they've hit with, you know, maybe some extra base hits, but not the home runs.
I'm right there with you. Although looking in spring training is very tough to figure out with the way the wind blows and the way the park plays. And last year wasn't a big power surge, so yeah, you got to kind of be optimistic of what you're going to get. But this is, I mean, this is fun to watch.
I was more basing it off of watching last year. Just didn't hit a lot. You know, it was a team that pitched wonderfully well, but you didn't see a lot of power, didn't see a lot of offense. But things have changed. Fourth team in National League history with 7 players hitting 10 or more before the All-Star break. Fly ball lifted into right. Long way to go for Stanton. And a foul ball. Had him shaded towards left center field and right center field.
You can just see right there, sitting up above. You can't see it on TV as well, but you can see him running. How large this outfield can be if you're shaded one way or the other. So much room to cover out there as an outfielder. It's just something I don't think we realize when you're watching a game, if you're not really focusing in on that, just seeing how far guys have to run to get to the corner and get to the gap. And you see a lot of balls you think might hold up and get caught. Just get through the gap for doubles and triples.
Just a bit high. Even the players have joined into
a little bit of the wave. I go with, I think that was Adam Wainwright down there.
Who else?
I would have never thought that when I was playing here, that he would be the guy that's dancing and doing the wave. But then I would have never thought I would have seen that amazing video tonight either of you dancing.
Clinic, Jimmy. Check on Diaz. See if the players get into it. They're watching. They know it's coming.
Oh.
Piscotty on a hop to short. Low throw. And some excitement in the bottom of the 7th. Randall Grichuk with a home run. And also Tommy Pham. 3rd time with a multi-home run game in his career. That one tied it. Grichuk splash put the Cardinals back on top. It's 6-5. Home run hitters in the bottom of the 7th. Cardinals with a 6-5 lead. Kevin Seagrass still in the game. Matt Adams checks in at first base. Adeiny Echeverria. It's a 10-pitch 7th inning for Kevin Seagrass to get the final couple of outs. Look who's on deck. 10 hits shy of 3,000. Ichiro Suzuki, and you know the fans here will give him a nice round of applause.
Tell you what, Danny, you know what I've noticed tonight? This team, under the tutelage of Barry Bonds, is swinging out of their shoes at every fastball. And you don't, I mean, this is the Miami Marlins, and you don't really see that in the past, or have seen that in the past. But I'm telling you what, They're not hitting them all, but it's impressive to watch.
And a fly ball lifted to shallow center. That'll bring in Ichiro.
Attention, please. For Miami, batting for the pitcher Phelps, number 51, Ichiro Suzuki.
Yadi stepping out in front of the plate as Ichiro gets a very nice ovation.
I'm surprised he didn't get a little bit more, and I think that Yadier Molina was too. People kind of caught on a little late.
Molina stepping out in front of the plate.
This just goes to show you what goes on in his brain during the course of a game. He knows what's going on. He understands the game. He understands this is a pretty important moment in the game and has a lot of respect for it at the same time.
Ichiro was in St. Louis in 2009. First time he had been in the Gateway City since breaking George Sisler's single season record of 257 hits. And he broke that in October of 2004 at the All-Star game in 2009. And he went to Sisler's gravesite to pay his respects when he came through St. Louis.
Wow.
The 2-2 pitch. Slapped the other way. 4,257 hits spanning the Japanese and North American major leagues. Surpassed Pete Rose's record total in Major League Baseball. Pete Rose did not agree with that. And regardless where it all ends up, he's headed to the Hall of Fame. That pitch taken high. He's been the Rookie of the Year, MVP. One of the amazing stats that he's had, 10 consecutive years of 200 or more hits.
I mean, he's been incredible to watch year in and year out, like you said, but it just has not changed. It is the same good at bat after good at bat all the time. And there you go.
9 away now for 3,000. Well, the thing is, Jimmy, he's 42 years old, and it's not like this is a guy just hanging on to get to 3,000. He's still one of the most productive bench players in the game today.
Look at this hand-eye coordination. It's almost like he's playing tennis. And he's hitting. He hits the ball where he wants to hit it. Like you throw the ball down and away, he's going to drive it over there in the other side of the field with some authority. And you can see the top hand whip through.
Cardinals face the Marlins in a 4-game series after wrapping up the 10-game homestand, and who knows, he may be on the doorstep of history in that series. Realmuto is at the plate. Now Ichiro is with Miami for another year. 85% of his hits have come with Seattle. Then he was with the Yankees, and now with the Marlins. Just 4% of those hits, but he has been productive off their bench. He can still run a little bit too. For those of the fan base that have been down to spring training, you look at the Marlins part of the facility, there is a separate area in which he works out, and he is in incredible shape, keeps himself in ridiculous shape. He's never injured, always stretching, always limber. One of the great stories in the game today.
It's funny, I was thinking exactly what you were thinking while you were talking, and I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, I wonder if I should bring up the fact that we've talked about this, but and I wouldn't say that he's working out on his own, but I think at this point at 42, and what I was going to say was he could be mailing it in right now. He could 2 years. He's going to obviously get to 3,000 if he stays healthy. He's got another year to play. He could take it easy, but he makes sure he's got his own equipment that in case the Marlins don't have what they need or what he needs, and does his own thing, and whatever he's been doing for how many years definitely works.
Ichiro to second base.
And you know, over this many years, however you can get yourself ready and you're successful, you really don't want to veer off the path for that. So bring your stuff over and get after it. Here you can see still causing havoc, where you have to be quick, pitching over or pitching out, throwing over, give Yachty a chance, and right there a throwing error gets you all the way to second base and puts the tying run at second base with 1 out.
Real Muto back to the top of the lineup. Tying run at second base in Ichiro. Still with that fairly good speed. Base hit. Be able to tie this game. Trying to get a clarification on what was the correct count on the scoreboard. And that's why Real Muto and Molina along with Jim Joyce all were talking there. It is now right. It's 2-2. The runner at second base. It's 2 for 4 tonight. Couple of singles and a run scored. And he got him. Chased a pitch out of the zone.
Just a really good four-seam fastball. Up and away, lefty. Coming into a righty, pretty much crossfire into everyone, and then you throw him up and away to what you anticipate and you chase. And that's just like what we're talking about, part of the game. Swinging at strikes is so important.
Nice work by Segrist. Here comes Broxton to try to get the final out here in the 8th. .39th appearance, as he'll try to get the final out here at the top of the 8th. Tying run at second base in Ichiro. Martin Prado is at the plate. He's really had a nice career. Yankees, Arizona, Atlanta. Found a home here with the Marlins. Every time the Marlins get the final out, the ball goes into the glove of the third baseman Martin Prado as they leave the field, and they say it's out of respect to him. All the younger players respect him. Ground ball, fly ball, strikeout, doesn't matter. He gets the ball. Hits it the other way. Here comes Ichiro, and it's bobbled in right field. We're tied up at 6. Well, if you're going to see a base hit, the one guy you wanted it hit to is in right field with the best arm, and that's Piscotty, and he bobbled it.
I was watching the play develop, and I thought right there Steven was going to have a great chance to come in and throw him out. He had a great jump on the ball. He ran hard the whole way. And you could see the ball just took a little bit of a weird bounce on him. It bounced up and hit him in the heel of the glove, and you can't throw it if you don't catch it.
And the error on the pickoff play comes back to haunt the Cardinals. Put Ichiro in scoring position. He's now driven in. This game is tied, and a fastball misses down.
It's funny to me, like talked about this when you play, you watch Sports Center every night and you see a certain guy doing a certain thing, and that's Prado hitting a ball off the end of the bat, staying inside it, hitting it to right field for an RBI. It's like clockwork.
1 ball, 1 strike. I watch Dan and Jay every night on FS1. You get all my highlights.
Good call. Different era. Sorry.
I don't think I've missed a show since they've been on the air. Catches the corner, and it's 1-2.
I usually tune in to the post-game show myself here, but you know, back in the day before the big FS1, get caught watching maybe the wrong channel every now and then. It happens.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Yelich in the dirt.
You just watch everything on Twitter.
Two and 2 the count. Hit the other way, slicing down the line, and a foul ball ruled by Jim Joyce. Once again, for those that just joined our telecast, Chad Fairchild started behind the plate. It was hit on the forearm. Looks to be a good call, and had to be taken out of the game. And so Jim Joyce, who started at first base tonight, shifted to behind the plate. So we have a 3-man crew right now, and here's the injury. He was back in the first inning with Holiday up, and that one caught him right square on the right forearm. And so he was lifted in this game.
It's a nasty, nasty mark right there.
I'd hate to think what it looks like now, a couple hours later.
Promise you it's going to be covered up in either black or white tape tomorrow. Probably some long sleeves.
The 2-2 pitch to Yelich. Martin Prado, the runner at first base. We are in the top of the 8th of a 6-6 game. The 3-2 pitch, and he struck him out. Johnny Peralta leads it off when we come back. We're tied at 6. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light Lime and by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. A 6-6 score here in the bottom of the 8th from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Along with Jim Edmonds, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes will be back with us on Sunday. So Chevy call to the pen, Fernando Rodney. Happy 79th birthday for Fran Luft, celebrating number 79 and watching Cardinals baseball. So Peralta leads it off. 6-6 our score. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Marlins really wanted, as we talked about, to shorten games up. That's why they went out, acquired Rodney. They feel that this is a team that if they do not win the division, they will get into postseason play. Right now they'd be in with the wild card. Cardinals are in there. You think about the wild card, the Dodgers. It could be a fun race.
And you got to believe you can get better if you're good and you're young. And we talked about this coaching staff. They just keep pushing these players a little bit more each day. And add some additions like this. And yeah, you never know what's going to happen. Obviously, you get into the playoffs.
Peralta now 1 for 25 against Fernando Rodney. Here's Yadier Molina. Last time the Cardinals had their left fielder, center fielder, and right fielder all go deep in the same game was in 2009. Chris Duncan, Colby Rasmus, Nick Stavanoa. That's a name from the past. It's May 26 of 2009 against Milwaukee. 4 home runs hit by the Cardinals tonight. Molina, hard hit, but taken there at first base. Johnson makes the play. There's 2 away.
Look at that angle we just got again. Show you the speed of the game. It's just, there is not much time between let go of that ball and the ball hitting the bat. It is amazing when you can see it from down there.
One of the stories of that first half of the Cardinals, their pinch hitters. Ray Garcia 4 for 9 with a home run as a pinch hitter. Cardinals with 10 pinch hit home runs. Next home run hit by a pinch hitter would be the all-time record in Cardinals history. Two outs and the 0-1 pitch. Pretty famous date in baseball history. 1967, Bob Gibson took a line drive off the bat of Roberto Clemente and broke his right fibula. Not only did he come back to pitch, Bob Gibson in 1967 came back to win games 1, 4, and 7 in the World Series. Here Jim Joyce screaming from behind home plate. He was hit by that pitch. Ouch. Oh. Garcia with a ground ball that's hit to second. And Rodney a 1-2-3. Bottom of the 8th. Sends us to the 9th. At least he's smiling. It's 6-6. Seung-Wan Oh, the Cardinals closer. There's a lot of National League Rookie of the Year candidates right now. Kenta Maeda of the Dodgers, Steven Matz, Oh, Trevor Story, Corey Seager of the Dodgers, his teammate Aledmys Diaz. He has been awfully good. Now, O likes to pitch on the outer half, and it really doesn't matter where you pitch Stanton. He can hit it anywhere. If you watch BP with Stanton, he takes everything to right. Tries to purposely hit line drives to right field. The ball earlier tonight put it in the gap in right center. And you know he's got the green light. 3-0 pitch.
I think that's pretty impressive too, coming out here today and watching batting practice. A guy who can literally hit the ball over there against the brew house is just hitting line drives up the middle and just trying to get a groove and stay loose and not try to do too much and pull off. And most of us have done in the past is try to put on a show, and I'm sure that Mr. Bonds is behind that a little bit somewhere.
Struck him out, never swung the bat. From 3-0 to take a seat.
Look at the strike zone right there. He is just all over that strike zone, except for the first 2 pitches being careful and just paint at the end.
Marcell Ozuna, 6-6 our score. Boy, that's nasty right there. Here's an 0-2 pitch to Ozuna. This is as lively a crowd I can remember at Busch Stadium in a while. They have been into this game with every pitch. Here's a 1-2. Doesn't get him to chase. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The 2-2 into center. And it's over the head of Grichuk. Ozuna on his way to second base, and the go-ahead run in scoring position.
Not sure what happened there. I took my eye off it for 1 second, thought it was right at him, and sailed on him a little bit. That's the kind of ball right there that's either knuckling or it catches a seam and takes off on you. Looked like he was set right there and kind of got his feet stuck, but sure, one of those balls that you would hope that he would catch, but one of those balls you ask him and he would tell you that he probably should have caught. But the ball does some funny things sometimes when it's hit that hard.
Here's Chris Johnson. The defense late again in this game. The error by Segris put a man in scoring position. Ichiro Suzuki, he came around to score. The base hit by Prado. Now on a ball that should have been caught. Puts the go-ahead run in scoring position. The 2-0. Good cut, fouled back. Johnson 1 for 3 tonight. Popped up to the right side. Piscotty with the catch. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. So 2 outs. Strike 1. This is Rojas.
You know, I'm watching O's body language at times here, and you can see sometimes coming off after the All-Star break, especially that extra day. And if you haven't even, you haven't played that Sunday before or pitched, get a little rusty. You lose a little bit of that feel of the baseball, and a couple times it looks like he's trying to throw pitches where he wanted to and just not getting it there. And sometimes acting a little frustrated at his location.
0-2. Cardinals will have Tommy Pham, who has hit 2 home runs tonight, Colton Wong, and Randall Grichuk, who was homer tonight, due up in the bottom of the 9th. 0-1 strike away from sending us there. One ball and 2 strikes. With everything that has gone on in this game, and Cardinals had a 4-1 lead. And I know there's another game tomorrow and next week and next couple of months. You just get the feeling this is an important game to set the tone. Second half, first game of the series, first game of this homestand.
You said it earlier, the fans are into it. They sense what's going on. It's a weekend after a long break.
2-2. Big gap in left center. And the 2-2. Ground ball left side, base hit. Throw to the plate is not in time. And the Marlins again come from behind and they take the lead 7-6.
Telling this Marlins team is relentless. Their at bats over and over and over are never ending. They battle and battle and battle, and it's like something I've never seen out of a Miami team before.
Danny Echeverry at the plate. 7-6 Marlins. That had a little extra giddy up on that.
Yep. 2 balls, no strikes.
Like
I said, you can see he's scuffling a little bit with his location, and I think that a lot of guys, other than Jaime tonight, have struggled a little bit with location at times, and not as sharp as they'd like to be after that Basically 4-day layoff.
In a way, this game sums up what the first half has been about. Poor defense here late. Rosenthal struggling. Chances to add on. They have not been able to do it. And it's happened here at home. Two and two the count. With that throw going through to the plate, it put Johnson in scoring position. And a strikeout for all. However, Miami near the top of the ninth takes a lead 7-6. Can Tommy Pham do it one more time? up 7-6. And home runs, part of our AT high-speed replay. Pham with a couple tonight. One down the left field line, another one to right center. Randall Grichuk back at the seventh. Long home run. Stephen Piscotty with a home run. Tommy Pham will lead it off. A.J. Ramos, the closer for Miami. This is our Chevy call to the pen. 27 of 28 save opportunities. Pham, Wong, Grichuk for St. Louis.
Open up the ninth inning with a nasty curveball. Not what you're expecting to see when you get a closer come in with a one-run lead.
Jimmy, we see this guy in spring training. We know he's got good stuff. And there it is again.
A lot of movement, a lot of legs and arms, and good arm action. Like I said, not what you're expecting when you come in. You want to try and get a fastball to hit. Not getting it.
3 consecutive breaking balls.
Back in the day, they used to say, like, a lot of the guys that came in and closed games would throw the split-fingered fastball in the 80s and the 90s, and they would allow you to get yourself out because you were so aggressively trying to win the game. And that's what a lot of closers will play off of that. They will throw the ball around the zone knowing that you're trying to be superhuman right now.
Again.
And he's definitely not giving Tommy Pham a fastball to just go up there and whack and tie the game. It's an interesting concept if you think about it, and a lot of the guys that are hitting the younger players don't understand it, and they'll just go up there and start swinging away.
Cardinals 1-37 this year when trailing after 8 innings. The 2-2 pitch to Tommy Pham. On its way.
Breaking ball.
Breaking ball hit up the middle, base hit. Well, that's good to see. Made the adjustment with it.
Well, that is exactly what I was going to say is, you know, you go up there, you're looking for a fastball being super aggressive, but then after you get made it look bad a couple times, you get behind in the count, you really have to just slow it down and try to have a good at bat. And that means sometimes maybe fouling off a fastball, being late to the fastball so you're not over anxious and out in front of a breaking ball and just giving your at bat away. He did that's a great job of hitting right there by Tommy Pham.
Now it's Wong. Going with the yellow batting gloves. I don't remember seeing that earlier.
I think that I was going to say it. Those are the first. Those were in the All-Star bag that they have given out to a lot of the players. The flashy July bag that we get during the course of the season.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Same thing with Colton Wong. I like that he's going out there, he's being aggressive, but right there, feeding off of the aggressiveness. He's going to throw him a fastball, but he's going to make sure it's not down the middle of the plate. You saw the first pitch was way in. Now Colton's got to back off and have a good at bat. There's the one thing that I remember Tony La Russa would go to his grave saying, don't try to be a hero in the 9th inning. Let's get a walk, let's get a base hit, and then someone can get a hit and make it easy. Not everyone's going to go deep all the time, especially off of a closer.
Wong strikes out. It's now 46 strikeouts in 36 in the 3rd innings. Ramos, if you're wondering, is allowed just 1 home run, and opponents came in hitting just 179 against him.
Well, you see the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and you see a really, really good above-average major league curveball right there so far. And I mean, it is really good.
There it is again, that breaking ball.
Hung that one a little bit. Has enough confidence in it though. Throwing it 4-strike 1 with no problems at all.
Here's the 0-1. I'm sure you would say, to follow up on your theme with Tony La Russa, Randall Grichuk, young player, tough play in center field that he did not make. Don't try to make up with it with 1 swing. It'd be nice if he did, but stay within the at bat.
Definitely. I mean, it is all about fighting for every inch in the 9th inning. And just go back to think about a lot of walk-off home runs you see over the course of the year. A lot of them are tied games in the 9th when the closer's not necessarily in that all of the time. You see a guy like this come in, you have to know right away this guy's not giving up a home run, or if he does, it's very rare. So really slow it down, try to put a couple of hits together.
Grichuk strikes out, and it's up to the All-Star Diaz. Miguel Rojas 1 for 2, his RBI single in the 9th. Budweiser player of the game.
You got the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, the nasty breaking ball, and then all of a sudden here comes a split-fingered fastball or changeup. Thank you very much. That. Yeah, and he hadn't shown it, and thank you very much for coming.
So 2 outs, runner at first. Here's Diaz. Matt Adams on deck.
If you're Diaz right here, your whole goal is to get Matt Adams to the plate. However it can be done. That has got to be your frame of mind right now.
guy's pretty filthy, isn't
I
he?
was just saying the same exact word was coming to my mind, was filthy. And energetic. I mean, he's moving around and bouncing around.
Diaz, base hit to the left. Well, he's done what you just asked. He's extended this to Adams.
So far, Ramos' only mistake. Hopefully he makes one more.
This will be a quick scouting report on Matt Adams. These two teams know each other so well because of spring training.
Yeah, it definitely has its advantages and disadvantages for sure, but good news is for some of these guys, or bad news is that they don't really see each other that much as far as one-on-one. You got to rely on a scouting report because the coaches are there every day. And a lot of the starters don't get to face each other. There's your crowd again.
Good speed at first base, good speed at second. 2 outs, game on the line. Echeverria was near the second base bag, now moves more towards shortstop. Adams, the first pitch, taken for a ball. Tomorrow, we're on the air at 5:30. Be a motorcade of the 06 championship team. We'll show that to you. Unfinished business here. The 1-0. Getting close to 400 with runners in scoring position. The 1-1. Pulled foul out in front of the breaking ball. And Ramos may have gotten away with it.
Yeah, he got away with 2 in a row, I think, right there. And just goes to show you what scouting reports can do for you. You know 95 is there. You know as a lefty he does have the changeup or the split because that's when he's normally going to use it. Then you get that curveball. Sometimes he misses a little bit, but there's a lot to think about right now when you're hitting.
The 1-2 pitch. And this ball game is over. 7-6. Miami holds on and they take game 1. Boy, a tough night for the Cardinals in terms of their defense late, and it comes back to cost them.
Yeah, you saw a little bit of a jump offensively and then a letdown and then a jump again and then a letdown, and just a tough night all around for which I thought was going to be a good start for the second half and a good crowd, and just going to have to go out there tomorrow and start all over.
On the air tomorrow at 5:30 with the pregame show. Game number 2. Postgame show comes your way tonight. 7-6 our final.